Chapter 93. What's wrong with his uncle? Wang Yao's mother muttered. He's doing well in the factory. Does he think it's so easy to do business? Wang Yao's father didn't say anything. He just sat on the sofa and smoked silently. He was familiar with his father's character and knew that his father was worried and sulking. Dad, don't think too much. Maybe my novel will make a fortune. Everyone has their own ambitions. You should smoke less. Okay. Wang Fenghua just responded. That night, Wang Yao stayed at home as usual. However, his father didn't have dinner at home. Instead, he was invited by people from the same village to drink. This was the custom of the nearby villages and towns. Every spring festival, the villagers would take turns to invite their relatives to a banquet, especially the relatives who didn't have 5 generations. People who were popular and had a good reputation would fight to invite them to their home. Wang Yao's father had a good reputation in the village. Many people invited him. When relatives and friends were together, and it was also a festival, there was nothing to do. Naturally, they would drink more. People who drank were afraid of gathering together because it was easy to get drunk. When Wang Fenghua came home at night, his footsteps were a little staggered. His body was full of the smell of cigarettes and alcohol. It seemed that he had drunk a lot. You drank so much again, Zhang Xiuying scolded. Fortunately, your son knows your bad temper and has prepared for it. Zhang Xiuying took out the hangover soup that she had prepared beforehand and fed it to him. Wang Yao had prepared it when he went up the mountain yesterday. He was afraid that his father would drink too much at this time and hurt his body. Everyone knew that alcohol was bad for the body. However, sometimes drinking too much would cause one to lose control. Well, it's useful. Wang Fenghua drank the hangover soup that Wang Yao prepared for him. After a while, he felt much better, mainly because his stomach didn't churn. After a while, he felt more comfortable and slowly fell asleep. On the 3rd day of the Chinese New Year, Wang Yao went back to his mother's house. Wang Yao drove his family to his grandmother's house. His aunt's family arrived at almost the same time as them. Several families gathered together and it was very lively. Among them, the marriage of Wang Ru and Wang Yao was naturally a topic of discussion. Fortunately, their family paid more attention to their feelings and mostly encouraged them. Wang Yao's grandparents, on the other hand, were quite happy. They said, "No hurry, no hurry." It was the complete opposite of his parents' attitude. Warm Kong beds, sumptuous dishes, chatting and laughing, family affection. The spring festival had always been like this. Family and friends gathered together to improve their relationship. After being busy for a year, he should take a break and recharge his energy for the coming year. Time passed quickly. After returning from his grandmother's house, Wang Yao went to Nanshan Hill to bring food and water for San Xian and Xia. It was ancient spring water. They were very happy to see Wang Yao. Wang Yao accompanied them on the hill and talked to them for a while. He didn't care whether they could hear him or not. After that, he carefully checked the growth of the herbs in the herbal field and read a volume of Taoist scriptures in the cottage. He went down the hill in the evening. After the 3rd day of Chinese New Year, guests came to Wang Yao's house. They took turns to treat guests at noon and in the evening. It was very busy. Wang Yao and Wang Ru helped out. Wang Yao's father wanted to entertain the guests with the wine that Wang Yao brought back, but he was stopped by Wang Yao. The wine was all famous, good wine. Wang Yao left it for his father. There were other wines for his relatives and friends. They were also famous wines in the province. Well done, Fenghua, this wine is good. Isn't it? You even smoked Yellow Crane Tower. My son bought it for me. Wang Fenghua didn't talk much, but he always had a smile on his face. Wang Yao knew that his father was very happy. This could be considered as a sign of pride. This situation lasted until the 6th day of Chinese New Year. After the 6th day of Chinese New Year, the factory basically started to open. A lot of people in the village were working in town or in Lianshan County. After they left, the originally lively mountain village became a lot emptier. Wang Yao went back to Nanshan Hill on the 6th day of Chinese New Year and spent the night there. During Chinese New Year, it was lively when he reunited with his family at home. Now it was quiet in the cottage on the hill. It was a different feeling, a different feeling. Next, Wang Yao had a lot of things to do. He had to set up the spirit-gathering battle array on Nanshan Hill. This was a big project. The preliminary preparations would take a long time. Moreover, he had to prepare for the medical qualification certificate. During the day, Wang Yao took care of the herbal field and practiced martial art. He also took San Xian to wander around Nanshan Hill. After that, he went back to the cottage to record. He drew a rough plan and elevation of Nanshan Hill. The main trees, rocks, and terrain were marked on the plan. These things were the foundation and important reference for setting up the spirit-gathering battle array in the future. In this way, his life became peaceful again. A few days later, a guest came to Nanshan Hill. The guest was Tian Yuantu. When he came, Wang Yao was busy on Nanshan Hill. He saw him from afar. "Brother Tian, Happy Chinese New Year." Wang Yao smiled and greeted him from afar. "Happy Chinese New Year." Tian Yuantu replied loudly. "Come in and have a seat." The cottage was still cold. Tian Yuantu sat down and chatted for a while. Then he told Wang Yao the purpose of his visit. Before Chinese New Year, he had asked Wang Yao for a decoction for his friend. The effect of the decoction was very good. After his friend's mother took the decoction, her condition improved a lot. Today, he came to ask for another decoction. "Did your friend's mother get sick again?" "No, I just want to ask for another decoction in case I need it," Tian Yuantu said. Wang Yao didn't say anything immediately. It was true that some medicines should be kept at home. However, regather soup was obviously not one of them. Wang Yao wasn't sure how long regather soup could be kept without losing its efficacy. In the current situation, he couldn't do an experiment to verify it. Moreover, he had carefully read the patient's case and medical records. He had a certain understanding and judgment of her condition. In fact, regather soup could only replenish the vitality consumed by the pain of the illness. It couldn't fundamentally remove the cause of the illness. Her illness was caused by a variety of diseases caused by the weak cold in her body. The root of the illness was the word cold. Moreover, the illness had dragged on for too long. The cold had probably invaded the internal organs and was extremely difficult to remove. Tian Yuantu saw that Wang Yao didn't speak for a long time. He thought he was thinking about something, so he didn't disturb him. He sat aside and waited. "For this illness, it's best to see the patient," he said after a moment of contemplation. Well, this time, it was Tian Yuantu's turn to be in a dilemma. He knew Wang Yao's strange rules. He wouldn't take the initiative to visit him. He also knew the situation of his friend's mother. She was most afraid of the cold. If it was midsummer, she could come out. Although the coldest time had passed, the weather was still very cold. Chapter 94. What's wrong? Seeing Tian Yuantu's awkward expression, Wang Yao asked. "Her health is not good. She can't stand the bumps and can't walk much. She's especially afraid of the cold. I'm afraid she can't come up the mountain." Tian Yuantu didn't hide it and said bluntly. "Well, let's wait for a while." Wang Yao thought for a moment and said. It wasn't a mission and there were no mandatory requirements. He could take the initiative to visit the patient, but he still couldn't figure out the identity of the person who made Tian Yuantu so concerned. If he visited the patient himself, would it cause some trouble? Therefore, he didn't rush to agree. "Well, let's wait." Tian Yuantu heard. "This medicine?" 7 days later, but this medicine. Wang Yao didn't say it clearly. He had already returned the favor. He didn't get the medicine for free. He exchanged it with reward point. If others asked for it again, they would have to pay the corresponding price. I know, Tian Yuantu said. Okay. Tian Yuantu didn't stay for long and left. Visit the patient? Wang Yao sat in the room and thought about this problem. A pharmacist was not a hermit. Although he lived in the mountains, he couldn't avoid integrating into society and dealing with the secular world. People like Taoists and monks actively participated in the secular world, let alone him. However, he had to carefully consider the people he came into contact with and the things he did. His medicinal field was like gold in the sand, like the moon in the clouds, revealing a corner of its brilliance. This was still within the mountains, and he didn't have much ability to protect himself. As the saying goes, wealth moves people's hearts. If some people with ulterior motives and power found out about his secret here, then he would be in big trouble. He didn't want to know how dark the world was. Before he had enough power to protect himself, he had to keep a low profile. A 3-year-old child shopping with a stack of money would definitely not have good consequences. He didn't need to be in a hurry and couldn't be too slow. He had to take advantage of the situation. For Tian Yuantu's medicine, Wang Yao had to go to the city again. The next day, in a client reception room of the Chinese Herbal Medicine Company, Manager Li smiled as he poured tea for Wang Yao. His small eyes narrowed into a line. The young man in front of him was an important customer. The things he wanted were rare and he was knowledgeable. It was not easy to fool him. After the last incident, he did not want to fool him. He could earn less money, but he could not lose this customer, because this was very likely to be a long-term customer. Manager Li, you don't have to be so polite. I'm here because I have something to trouble you with, Wang Yao said with a smile. Go ahead, Manager Li said. It's the same herbs as last time, but the quantity is doubled. Time? Within a week. The sooner the better. No problem, Manager Li agreed immediately. Deposit at the usual place? There's no hurry. Have a cup of tea first, Manager Li said with a smile. Later, Wang Yao paid the deposit under the guidance of Manager Li. After that, Wang Yao left the Chinese Herbal Medicine Company. He drove around Lianshan County to buy some daily necessities and some dog food for San Xian. After that, he returned home. When he returned home, he found that there was a guest at home. It was a stranger. His mother was talking to him. The man looked to be in his 40s. He looked a little thin. His clothes were ordinary. His hair was slightly messy, and he looked a little tired. Yao, you're back. This man said he was looking for you, Zhang Xiaoying said after seeing Wang Yao come back. Looking for me? Wang Yao was stunned. He didn't remember knowing this man in front of him. Hello, my name is Zhou Xiong. After seeing Wang Yao come back, the man immediately stood up and said, Hello, what can I do for you? I have something to ask you for help, Zhou Xiong said. What is it? Please help treat my son, Zhou Xiong said. Treat your son? Wang Yao frowned slightly. When he heard his mother say that this man specifically came to see him, he felt that it was a little strange because he didn't know this man at all. Now, he actually said that he wanted to treat his son. How did he know that he had medical skills? Who told him? I'm sorry. Wang Yao chose to reject the stranger's request. Well, the man was stunned. He didn't expect Wang Yao to give such an answer. I can give you any amount of money you need, Zhou Xiong said sincerely. It's not a matter of money. He wanted to say that he didn't know how to treat patients, but he thought of the previous name of the pharmacist mission. How could he refuse? Wang Yao thought and didn't say anything. I've been busy recently. I'm sorry. He had no choice but to use this excuse. I can bring my son here. Please, the man said very sincerely. Wait a minute. I want to ask you a question first. I hope you can answer truthfully. Okay, please ask. How do you know that I can treat illnesses? Wang Yao said. Well, The man named Zhou Xiong looked hesitant and troubled. Forget about it. After a moment of silence, Zhou Xiong said, Dr. He Qixing? Yes. You're not local? Wang Yao asked again. After a few sentences, he could tell that this man's accent didn't belong to the area around Lianshan. He should be a foreigner. No, I'm from Sangzhou. Sangzhou? That's very far. It's thousands of miles away, Wang Yao said. Yes, so please help me, Zhou Xiong said sincerely. Leave your contact information. I'll give you an answer within 3 days. After a moment of silence, Wang Yao said. The other party came from thousands of miles away and had already come to find him. It was considered a distance. Zhou Xiong's attitude was sincere and sincere. He didn't want to directly refuse. It was better to see how the situation went. Okay, Zhou Xiong said happily. After staying for a short while, Zhou Xiong took his leave and left. After he left, Wang Yao's mother, Zhang Xiuying, said, You should help him. Why? He needs help, Zhang Xiuying said. There are many people who need help. Mom, I don't know the details of this person at all. I don't know what kind of person he is. I don't want to cause trouble for the family, Wang Yao said. Although Wang Yao had a rough plan in his heart, he still decided to give his mother a precautionary shot in case she became soft-hearted and agreed to anyone's request in the future. It was true that he had medical skills now, but he still lacked a lot of things. He didn't want to cause unnecessary trouble. Yes, I'm too soft-hearted, Zhang Xiuying said in a low voice. It's okay. You don't have to worry about this matter. Leave it to me. At noon, after lunch, Wang Yao went up to Nanshan Hill. As soon as he entered the cottage, he received a phone call from He Qixing. He first apologized, then said a few words and hung up. Chapter 95. Sorry? After listening to He Qixing's words, Wang Yao did not say much. He only responded with a few words. He had thought too much. What he did not expect was that the next morning, He Qixing personally went to Nanshan Hill to apologize. This action surprised Wang Yao. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have revealed your information to others, He Qixing said very sincerely. It has already happened. Don't do it again. After a moment of silence, Wang Yao said. Although he was a little angry at the beginning, he soon understood that people who knew his ability would not necessarily keep a secret for him. Without a strong backing and deterrence, how much binding force could a mere promise have? Especially in today's society. A promise of great weight was just wishful thinking. He is my friend. I can rely on him. He Qixing hesitated for a moment and said, He has been running all over the country for his son's illness, but it has been to no avail. I thought you might be able to help him, so I told him. Have some tea. Wang Yao poured him a cup of tea. Dependable? Once, Wang Yao also thought that He Qixing was dependable. However, it turned out that he was wrong. I owe you a favor, He Qixing continued. He really did not know how to explain it to Wang Yao. People could not break their promises, even if it was only once. Can his son withstand the long journey? Wang Yao said. Since Wang Yao had put it this way, he really could not refuse. After all, Wang Yao was an acquaintance, and Wang Yao was also helping him. Wang Yao's heart softened a little. Yes. Hearing Wang Yao's tone soften, He Qixing was secretly relieved. He was really afraid that this matter would ruin the friendship they had built up over the past few days. However, Wang Yao was his good friend who had helped him when he was in trouble. They were friends who had gone through life and death together. No matter what, he had to help him. Okay, tell him that I'll treat his son, Wang Yao said after thinking for a while. Thank you. What time? Let's see when he comes. Let me know before he comes. All right, I'll thank you on his behalf, He Qixing said excitedly. Yes. He Qixing was very happy when he left. He was genuinely happy. It was as if he had succeeded in half of the matter with Wang Yao's promise. I wonder what kind of illness he has this time? Wang Yao turned to look at the medicinal field beside the cottage. It's time to prepare. After 2 days, Wang Yao received a phone call from Manager Li. He said that the wild medicinal herbs he wanted had arrived and asked him to pick them up. He took some time to go to Lianshan County. This time, Manager Li did not play any trick. There were no problems with the quality and age of the herbs. They met Wang Yao's requirements. After checking, Wang Yao did not care too much about the slightly more expensive price. He paid and picked up the herbs. After all, he might have to deal with Manager Li in the future. Although the price of the herbs was slightly more expensive, it was actually not that expensive. Manager Li was a shrewd businessman. He knew when to do what and when not to play tricks. I'll have to trouble Manager Li if I have any problems in the future. You can just call me if you have any problems. You don't have to come in person, Manager Li said with a smile. Okay. After paying and exchanging a few words, Wang Yao left and drove straight home. The next day, the sky was slightly gloomy. Wang Yao came back from practicing on the mountain. He looked up at the sky. The weather was probably not good. The Yangtze was slightly weak on a cloudy day. He prepared the herbs and then walked around Nanshan Hill. He picked up some dry firewood and piled it at the side of the hut. He wanted to use it to decoct the herbs. The Lantern Festival was on the 15th day of the first lunar month. On the stage with flaming trees and silver flowers. The iron chain of the star bridge opened. The lantern tree shone 1,000 times. The bright moon chased after people. That day, Wang Yao did not spend the night on the mountain. His sister also came back. However, this time, for some reason, she was much quieter. It seemed that she was quite absent-minded. What's wrong, Ru? Are you not feeling well? Zhang Xiuying asked with concern. I'm fine, Mom, Wang Ru said with a smile. If you have something to say, say it. Don't hide it in your heart. I'm really fine, Mom. The rare silence made Wang Yao somewhat uncomfortable. At night, the sky was still clear. The full moon in the sky was a little yellow, like a big mooncake. After dinner, Wang Yao said to his sister, Sister, are you not feeling well? Let me take a look. I'm really fine, Wang Ru said. Ah! Wang Yao's eyes suddenly lit up. He seemed to have thought of something. What's wrong with you? Sister, don't tell me you're thinking of love? Bullshit. Get out of my way. Wang Ru glared at him. She had regained some of her usual elegance. That's my sister. She's a tough woman. I can't get used to it when she suddenly becomes gentle. Wang Yao sighed. Get out of my way. Don't bother me again. Woof, woof, woof. It was past 8 o'clock in the evening. When the family was sitting on the Kong at home and watching TV, there was suddenly a dog barking outside. It was not only one dog, but all the dogs nearby were barking. What's going on? Wang Yao turned his head and looked outside. Suddenly, he heard a scream. Someone's there? Wang Yao's ears were very sharp. He heard someone screaming. Then, there was another scream. What's that sound? I'll go out and have a look. Wang Fenghua put on his clothes and went out of the house with a flashlight. Dad, I'll go with you. Wang Yao was worried. He followed his father and went out in front of him. As soon as he opened the door, he saw a black shadow running past the door. It was very fast. It looked like a dog, but it was big like a calf. What's that? Wang Fenghua was surprised. It's a dog, a Tibetan Mastiff. Wang Yao's eyesight was extraordinary. Even in the dark night, he could see things as if it were daytime. Just when he was looking at the door, he saw a big dog run past in front of him. It was very fast. It was very big. The wind was mixed with the smell of blood. What's going on? I don't remember any family in our village raising a Tibetan Mastiff, Wang Fenghua said. It was true that villagers liked to raise dogs. They raised dogs to guard the house, but most of them raised native dogs. The bigger ones were wolfhounds and forks. It was rare to raise a large fierce dog like a Tibetan Mastiff. First, this kind of dog was territorial and fierce. It could not be raised freely. Otherwise, it would be easy to take the initiative to hurt people. Second, this kind of dog had a big appetite and liked to eat meat. It was not like other native dogs. They could eat steamed buns, pancakes, and other leftovers. Most families could not afford it. Chapter 96. Wang Yao's village was not big, but it was not small either. News about a Tibetan Mastiff would quickly spread throughout the village. It was worth gossiping about. This Tibetan Mastiff did not belong to this village. Someone come! At this moment, someone suddenly shouted, cutting through the night sky. It sounded very anxious. Let's go and have a look, Wang Fenghua said. Okay. Wang Yao went home and took a wooden stick in his hand. He did not forget to close the door before leaving. The father and son followed the direction of the shout and saw a group of people on a street. The person in the lead was a man who was carrying a person on his back and walking in a hurry. Then, a car drove over in a hurry. They got into the car and left quickly. What happened? Someone next to him asked. He was bitten by a dog. A dog? Is it so fierce? Yes, it seems to be a big dog. It bit his neck. Big dog? Is it the Tibetan Mastiff just now? Wang Yao turned his head and looked in the direction of his home. Dad, let's go home. Although he had closed the door, he was still worried about his mother and sister. Okay. The father and son returned home. The mother and daughter, who were waiting at home, hurriedly asked what had happened. Wang Yao told them what had just happened. Tibetan Mastiff? Wang Ru was shocked. Someone in the village has this kind of dog? Is this dog very fierce? But one Mastiff can fight against 3 wolves, Wang Ru said. Oh, you can even fight tigers and lions, Wang Yao said with a smile. What? So fierce? Is it still a dog? Zhang Xiuying asked. Mom, I'm just talking nonsense. How can there be such a powerful dog in the world? Not to mention lions and tigers, even aardwolves are not something a dog can handle. However, this kind of Tibetan Mastiff is indeed more fierce and territorial. It's not a problem for it to pounce on a big man. I just glanced at it. That dog is quite big, like a calf. Why did it suddenly come to our village? I'm not sure. That night, dogs would bark from time to time in the village. The next morning, after breakfast, Wang Yao went out. Just as he was about to head south, he saw several men from the village coming out of an alley with sticks in their hands. What's going on? He was stunned. Hey everyone, pay attention. At this moment, the broadcast that had been silent for a long time suddenly sounded. After listening to the radio for a while, Wang Yao learned that 3 people had been bitten by the Tibetan Mastiff in the village overnight. This morning, the Tibetan Mastiff directly rushed into a house and bit a child. The group of men with sticks were the villagers who had organized to look for the mad dog. F***ck, where did that mad dog run off to? The leader of the group had a strong back and a bare waist. His face was full of anger. He wanted to smash the Tibetan Mastiff into meat paste immediately. Just last night, the Tibetan Mastiff rushed into his house and bit a relative who was visiting his house, which made him very angry. Yao, hurry up and go home. Don't wander around by yourself. Didn't you hear the broadcast just now? One of the men saw Wang Yao and shouted at him. Got it, uncle. I'll go back right away, Wang Yao replied with a smile. After they walked away, Wang Yao wanted to continue to go up the hill, but he received a call from his family. His family was also worried about him and did not let him go up the hill alone. This time, his mother's tone was very tough. He had no choice but to go home and wait. As a result, he did not hear the broadcast in the village for the whole morning. The village dog did not seem to bark much, which meant that the Tibetan Mastiff that had bitten people in the village last night should have left. The danger should have been eliminated. At noon, after lunch, Wang Yao decided to go up the hill to have a look. What if the mad dog is still in the village? Zhang Xiuying did not let him go. Can't I go with a stick? What's the use of a stick? You don't know how to beat a dog with a stick. Look, Mom. Wang Yao picked up a stone. The qi in his abdomen flowed to his right hand. With a crack, the stone broke into several pieces. Zhang Xiuying was stunned. It's okay. Don't worry. In the end, Wang Yao went out of the house with the thick bamboo pole and went to Nanshan Hill. When he reached the foot of the hill, he suddenly stopped and looked at the road. Then, he bent down. There were a few drops of blood on the road. It had dried. Why is there blood here? He continued to walk forward for a while. After a while, he saw the same blood. Could it be the Tibetan Mastiff? Wang Yao looked up into the distance and unconsciously quickened his pace. He followed the winding road and went around a mountain. Nanshan Hill was in front of him. Woof, woof, woof. He heard the dog barking on the hill from afar. Something is wrong. He hurried up the hill. Before he reached the hillside, he suddenly stopped. What is that? He saw a dog. It was as big as a calf. It was covered with long black fur. There were several wounds on its body. It was the Tibetan Mastiff that bit several people in the village last night. The Tibetan Mastiff was lying on the ground. Its body was a little stiff. It was not bullied. Wang Yao went closer and found that the Tibetan Mastiff was dead. There was a big pool of blood under its body. The fatal wound was on its throat, where it was bitten open. The other wound was on its abdomen, where it was torn open. What animal killed the Tibetan Mastiff? Are there other beasts on Nanshan Hill? It shouldn't be. I have been on Nanshan Hill for several years. I have spent a considerable amount of time here. I have never seen any beast. The only one that can be counted as a bird of prey is de Xia. While Wang Yao was puzzled, the dog, San Xian, rushed down the hill. Hey, San Xian, what happened to you? When San Xian came closer, Wang Yao found that San Xian's fur was a little messy. Some parts of his fur were missing. There was some blood at the corner of his mouth. He wagged his tail excitedly when he saw Wang Yao. Wait! Wang Yao looked at San Xian carefully. He then turned to look at the Tibetan Mastiff on the ground. He had a bold guess in his heart. This Tibetan Mastiff must have been killed by you, right? Woof, woof. San Xian responded and raised his paw to point at the hill. Not only you, but also de Xia? Woof, woof. Good fellow, good job. Wang Yao patted San Xian in front of him. San Xian was less than half the size of the Tibetan Mastiff. It was quite impressive that he could cooperate with the goshawk to kill the mad dog. But how did the Tibetan Mastiff die at the foot of the hill? Chapter 97. As Wang Yao went up the hill and looked at the blood on the ground, which extended to the herbal field, he roughly guessed what had happened. The Tibetan Mastiff must have come from the village and came to Nanshan Hill for some reason. It went up the hill and tried to get close to the herbal field. However, it was discovered by San Xian, and then a fight broke out. With the help of Goshawk, they worked together to seriously injure the Tibetan Mastiff. The Tibetan Mastiff was injured and ran down the hill. Good job, I'll give you more food. Wang Yao smiled at San Xian and Goshawk, who were standing on the branches. Later, Wang Yao went down the hill again and dragged the Tibetan Mastiff's body out. He threw it on the road at the foot of the hill and called the village defense team captain to inform him. Then he went up the hill. Not long after, he saw a group of people with sticks on the hill. After finding the Tibetan Mastiff's body, they beat it up to vent their anger. Then they dragged the body back to the village. Hey, what did you use to kill this Tibetan Mastiff? Who knows? It's definitely not done by a human. Nonsense, at this time of the year, there is no one on the hill. Could it be a wolf? There are no wolves on the hill. Hey, Captain, who called you? You guys talk so much nonsense. The square-faced burly man in the lead scolded, and those people didn't dare to ask again. Wolf? He turned around and glanced at the half-hidden short mountain. If there were wolves, how could he not know and stay on the hill every night? In the cottage on Nanshan Hill, Wang Yao sat in front of the window with a scroll of scriptures in his hand, reading in a low voice. The hustle and bustle of the spring festival had passed, and the new year had just begun. In the evening, Wang Yao walked around the herbal field and checked out the situation nearby. He fed San Xian some dog food and then went down the hill. The full moon was in the sky, but the moonlight was a little cold. The next morning, Wang Yao sent his sister to work in the city. Then he went home and went up Nanshan Hill. He was busy in the herbal field. Then he told his family that he would not be home for lunch. Then he prepared to decoct the decoction. Perhaps it was because the beginning of spring was approaching, but the weather was obviously warmer. Inside the hut, the firewood burned, making crackling sounds. In the multifunctional pot for herbs, the ancient spring water was slightly boiling, giving off steam. After the herbs were boiled, they slowly emitted a fragrant aroma. Several herbs were added in one after another. In the pot, the color of the medicinal soup gradually darkened. The last one was guyuan. The various medicinal effects merged into one. The medicine was done. After Wang Yao packed the medicine, he got up and moved his body. Then he called Tian Yuan-tu and asked him to pick up the medicine tomorrow. That night, after Wang Yao had dinner at home, he received a call on his way to Nanshan Hill. It was an unfamiliar number. He felt that he had seen this number before. Hello. Hello, I'm Zhou Xiong. After hearing the name of the caller, he remembered that it was the middle-aged man who had come to his home before the spring festival, hoping to see his child. He had also called him during the spring festival to wish him a happy new year, but he had forgotten to save his phone number. Zhou Xiong said on the phone that he was ready to bring his son over at any time. He asked Wang Yao when would be suitable. After the beginning of spring. Wang Yao estimated. In fact, he did not care. If nothing unexpected happened, he would still stay on Nanshan Hill all day. However, the weather was still a little cold recently. The child was weak and might not be able to stand the cold. The beginning of spring would come in a few days, and the weather would become a lot warmer. At that time, he would suffer less. The middle-aged man hurriedly agreed. At the same time, he tentatively asked Wang Yao how much the consultation fee would be so that he could prepare in advance. In this regard, Wang Yao could not casually ask for a price. He could only wait for the child's condition. So, he told the middle-aged man what he meant. Is this a case of turning to any doctor when one is sick? After hanging up the phone, Wang Yao suddenly thought of this problem. Not to mention outsiders, even in the village, only a few people knew that he could treat patients. Zhou Xiong wanted to bring his son over to have a look through He Qixing. He must be eager to save his son and wanted to give it a try when he heard an opportunity. The next morning, just as Wang Yao came down from Nanshan Hill, he saw a man coming toward him from the mountain road. The man was Tian Yuan-tu. He had made an appointment with him to pick up the medicine. He also had some gifts in his hand. I told you, you don't have to bring gifts when you come, Wang Yao said. Regarding this matter, whether it was Tian Yuan-tu or He Qixing, he had told them many times. However, they basically did not come empty-handed. They always brought gifts, which made him feel very embarrassed. Just a little thing. It didn't cost much. Tian Yuan-tu smiled and put the things on the table. Sit down and drink tea. Wang Yao made a pot of tea for him. As soon as the hot water was poured, the aroma was aroused. Well, good tea. West Lake Longjing tea? Tian Yuan-tu did not drink it. He just smelled the tea and guessed what kind of tea was in the pot. In addition to the West Lake Longjing tea, Wang Yao only had Chiman black tea. The former was brought by He Qixing, and the latter was brought by Tian Yuan-tu, who was sitting in front of him. He could not entertain Tian Yuantu with a gift from Tian Yuantu. You are still the most knowledgeable, Wang Yao said with a smile. He had also drunk this tea. The color was bright, the aroma was high, and it was refreshing and sweet. It was a good tea. However, Wang Yao knew that he could not tell what kind of tea it was just by smelling it. In fact, he had only drunk a few kinds of tea. Before this, he only drank ordinary green tea. At that time, he also thought it was quite good. Not really, but I often drink this kind of tea. I am very familiar with the taste, Tian Yuantu said with a smile. How is your friend's mother's illness? My complexion is much better than before, but… Tian Yuan hesitated halfway through his sentence, as if there was something that he couldn't bring himself to say. In fact, his friend's mother's health was much better than before. He was very clear about this because he had visited her before the Spring Festival. Because of this, his friends praised Wang Yao a lot. Over the years, he had worried a lot about his mother's illness, but there was no doctor or medicine that could have such a miraculous effect. This made him want to meet Wang Yao very much. He even wanted to invite him to his house for a meal. Tian Yuan knew his friend's temper. With his current status and position, it was quite rare for him to invite a stranger to his house for a meal. It could even be said that it was impossible. For an ordinary person, it would be a great honor. However, the young man in front of him was not an ordinary person. Moreover, through the time they had spent together, he knew some of the rules of this young man. It seemed that he had never taken the initiative to come to see a doctor. This matter put him in a difficult position. Chapter 98. On one side was his good friend, and on the other side was a young man with extraordinary skills. He didn't want to be blamed by either side. Fortunately, his friend didn't insist. However, his mother wanted to thank Wang Yao in person. His friend was a filial son. If this went on, he would invite Wang Yao to his house sooner or later. Is there a problem? Wang Yao said. He knew that the regather soup he brewed could only make up for the loss of the patient's vitality due to the cold evil disease. However, it only treated the symptoms, not the root cause. Even if the patient took the regather soup, if he did not treat the root cause, the disease would definitely recur after a period of time. The best way was to see the patient in person and treat her so that he could prescribe the right medicine. My friend wants to invite you to his house for dinner to thank you, Tian Yuantu said after thinking for a moment. That's not necessary, Wang Yao said. Tian Yuantu was not too surprised. He had expected Wang Yao's answer, but he was a little disappointed. How could he explain it to his friend? This is the regather soup you asked for. Wang Yao put the warm white porcelain bottle on the table. Thank you. How much is this medicine? 1 million, Wang Yao said. Okay, please wait a moment. Hearing the price, Tian Yuantu didn't hesitate at all. After a while, Wang Yao's phone received a notification. Upgrade requirements met. Do you want to upgrade? The system's notification suddenly sounded. Have I met the requirements? Wang Yao was surprised. Upgrade, Wang Yao murmured. He didn't rush to open the system panel to check the changes. After all, there were guests in front of him. I told you that this medicine may not be able to cure the disease completely. It's better for me to see the patient in person so that I can diagnose. Can I trouble you to come to her house? First, you can treat my friend's mother. Second, they have long wanted to thank you in person. Tian Yuantu took the opportunity to ask. This depends on the situation. All right. Hearing that Wang Yao hadn't given him a dead end, Tian Yuantu knew that there was still a possibility of success. In this way, he could explain it to his friends. After sitting at Wang Yao's place for a while, Tian Yuantu put away the medicine and left. After sending him off, Wang Yao checked the situation in the room alone. Character level, 4 profession level, newbie you can fly soon, herb planting level, 3. Primary, you have already begun to explore the path of herb planting. The biggest reward for leveling up was the skill point. Together with the reward from completing the herb garden quest, he now had 2 energy points to use. Where should I add it? Medicine or medicine? The so-called medicine was to know what illness the patient had and how to treat it. The so-called medicine was based on the results of the diagnosis and the medicine that was suitable for the patient. Both were equally important and neither could be omitted. Then let's balance it out. Wang Yao added a point to each of the 2 main skills. On top of basic medicine, Wang Yao added a point. It was listen, the third of the 4 methods of diagnosis: look, listen, question, and feel. Listen referred to the diagnosis of the illness and the cause of the illness by listening to the sound and smelling the smell. As the old saying goes, those who hear and know, ask the 5 sounds to find out the illness. Those who hear and know were saints. If a doctor could really diagnose the illness and the cause of the illness by listening to the sound and smelling the smell, then his medical skills would be extraordinary. As for the word saint, perhaps it was a bit of a stretch. However, this also showed how extraordinary the essence of the nation was. In the ancient book, Han Fiziu Lao, there was a famous story called Bien Ke met Duke Huan of Kai. The famous ancient doctor, Bien Ke, diagnosed that Duke Huan of Kai was sick through observation. At first, it was in the muscles, then the skin, and finally the intestines. In the end, when Bien Ke saw Duke Huan of Kai from afar, he turned and left because he could see that Duke Huan of Kai was beyond cure. From afar, one could see that Duke Huan of Kai was sick to the bone and was about to die. Such observation skills were amazing and worthy of the 4 words, extraordinary. Bien Ke was also an ancient doctor. The 4 methods of diagnosis originated from him, and he was also known as the ancestor of medicine. These 2 skills were not as simple as adding points to them. This meant that a huge amount of knowledge had to be gained. The feeling of his head exploding came again. He felt that his head was swollen and hot. It was very painful, as if countless needles were pricking his head. Even though he was in a cold and cheerless room, he was sweating very quickly. Fortunately, this process did not last very long. Phew, Wang Yao breathed a sigh of relief. The huge amount of medical knowledge in his mind required him to spend some time to familiarize himself with and use it. The system's infusion did have the effect of enlightening, or even better, but this was only the infusion of knowledge into his mind. As for how to use it flexibly, it depended on his own efforts. This was a process that required continuous practice and accumulation of experience. In the field of medicine, he had already learned how to identify herbs and familiarize himself with the effects of various herbs. Now, he had taken a step further and knew how to combine these herbs to best unleash their effects. Some herbs could not be mixed together because their effects would clash and restrain each other. With this knowledge, Wang Yao could choose the right herbs to make his own prescription according to the symptoms of the illness. He could also modify the prescription. In fact, he already had the ability to do this. It was just that he relied more on the Chinese medicine prescriptions that he learned from the book. Now, he was more flexible. In the past, he had to follow the book. Now, he could make and change certain things. Don't underestimate the ability to apply what you have learned. Some people might not be able to do this even after working for a lifetime, let alone take a step further and innovate. In the path of medicine, some people just asked about the illness and prescribed medicine without further diagnosis and confirmation. Sometimes they would even prescribe one medicine for 10 kinds of illnesses. If it was a minor illness, it would be better. However, for some illnesses, the symptoms were not obvious at the beginning of the illness. If it was just a general treatment, it was likely to delay the treatment and even become more serious. In this way, I will have more confidence and certainty when facing various illnesses, Wang Yao said to himself. After a few days, it was the beginning of spring, the first of the 24 solar terms in ancient times. The east wind brought warmth, the earth thawed, and all living things recovered. The east wind brought rain and the west wind chased the east wind. The earth was sunny and warm, all living things were awakened, the mountains and rivers were awakened, the farmers plowed at the beginning of the year. Coincidentally, rain fell from the sky on the first day after the beginning of spring. The rain fell on the ground and melted the chill of the frozen land. Chapter 99. Wang Yao sat in the small house, holding a scroll of Taoist scripture in his hand and reading it softly. Outside the house, San Xian was lying in his kennel, looking into the distance as if deep in thought. The goshawk was perched on a tree branch, flapping its wings from time to time. Spring rain was as precious as oil. This rain did not last long and stopped when it was close to evening. Originally, Wang Yao didn't want to go down the mountain because the road would be a little muddy after the rain. However, he received a call from home saying that there were guests at home and he had to go back. He had no choice but to go down the mountain. When he returned home, he saw two strangers sitting in his house, a man and a woman. The woman looked to be in her 30s and had taken good care of herself. The man looked rougher. Even when he was sitting on the sofa, his back was straight and he looked very imposing. He had never seen these two people before. "Yao, you've grown so big," that woman said, clearly recognizing Wang Yao. This is your aunt, your uncle," Zhang Xiuying said with a smile. After his mother's introduction, Wang Yao found out that the woman in her 30s was his cousin, the daughter of his aunt, and the man was her husband. After such an introduction, Wang Yao remembered that his mother had once mentioned this aunt. To be exact, she was the family of his great-aunt, whom he had never met. It seemed that all the children of that family were very promising. The aunt in front of him was a famous college student in the county more than 10 years ago. Her results in the college entrance examination were very good. Later, she went to a famous university in the capital. Her two brothers were also very capable. One of them was a senior manager in a state-owned enterprise, while the other was in Hike City. He did business by himself, which seemed to be related to real estate. They were also very rich. Usually, they would not communicate with Wang Yao and his family. Their shoulders were uneven, so they were not relatives. Although this sentence was unpleasant to hear, it was still somewhat reasonable. The couple had dinner at Wang Yao's house. Wang Fenghua took out the remaining Maotai. "Wow, brother-in-law, you're drinking Maotai?" Wang Yao's aunt smiled. "Yao gave it to me," Wang Fenghua said. "Pour wine for your uncle." Ai. Wang Yao took the warm wine and poured it for his uncle first. Then, he filled his father's glass. "You want some too?" "I won't drink it." Wang Yao waved his hand. He really wasn't used to drinking this wine. "This wine is pretty good. It's rare to get to drink it." Ever since he entered the room, the man who was sitting upright had said no more than 10 sentences. He gave people the impression that he was not good with words, but it was rare for him to say something. After dinner, the couple sat around for a while. They chatted with Wang Yao's parents, especially his mother, for a while before they left. After seeing them off, Wang Yao looked at the time and decided to spend the night at home instead of going to Nanshan Hill. With the experience last time, he was a lot more relaxed about the situation on Nanshan Hill. The dog and the eagle were quite responsible and quite capable. He sat at home and chatted with his parents. His mother talked about the couple who had just arrived. According to the seniority of the family, the woman who should be called auntie was quite capable. It was said that her English was at the level of a professional level 8 professional, and she could also speak German. She used to work in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but now she was doing business overseas. Her husband looked a little older, but in fact, he was not that old. He was now a regimental cadre. It seemed that his father was even more powerful, at least a divisional cadre. In the eyes of ordinary people, this was already a very high status. They originally planned to come back for the spring festival, but because of some things in Jing, they came back a little later. After they came back, they visited all of their relatives in Lianshan County. "Why haven't I seen them come back in the past years?" asked Wang Yao curiously. In his memory, this seemed to be the first time that this couple had come to visit his relative. This was somewhat unusual. "They came here because they still care about us." "Why are you talking so much nonsense?" said Zhang Xiuying somewhat discontentedly. Yes, replied Wang Yao immediately. However, he still had some doubts in his mind. It was too strange for them to suddenly visit his relatives. However, it seemed that there was nothing that he could do to help them. After all, they had a high status and the resources and connections that they could access were far beyond his imagination. He thought that they just thought of visiting his relatives by chance and wanted to take this opportunity to visit his relatives. The next morning, Wang Yao got up early, cooked some food, and went to Nanshan Hill. Maybe it was because of the rain yesterday, the air seemed to be a little moist. After walking around the herbal field, he watered the licorice roots with ancient spring water and changed the water for San Xian and De Xia. After that, he went back to Nanshan Hill. He went to the top of the rock and started to practice. The wind was still blowing on the peak, but the direction of the wind had changed. It was not so cold anymore. After the unusual spring rain, there seemed to be a little more warmth in the wind. Wang Yao sat on the rock like an old monk in meditation. Only his body could be seen moving up and down rhythmically. The sky attack in the distance was bright and beautiful. The sun showed a little bit of its head, then suddenly jumped out and the sun shone on the earth. At this time, Wang Yao's body shook slightly and then returned to normal. After a while, he got up from the rock with a smile on his face. It was good news. Another meridian was unblocked. After the qi in his abdomen circulated several times, he felt that his body seemed to be more comfortable than before. It was lighter and more powerful. Even his whole spirit was refreshed. "I wonder how my body has improved?" Wang Yao said as he opened the system panel. Character attributes: Physique 2. 5. Strength 1. 7. Spirit 2. 1. Agility 1. 8. Will 1. 9. There had been a lot of progress. With the continuous improvement of his practice, Wang Yao was moving forward along the road of transcendence. However, after the spring equinox, the villagers will gradually start to get busy. At that time, there will be more people going up the mountain. I'm afraid some things will not be so convenient. Although no one came to Nanshan Hill on weekdays, it was different during the farming season. The nearby mountains were all planted with crops, and there were many people coming and going. If the secret was exposed, it was no longer a secret. The attractive wealth was exposed to the public. Some people with evil intentions would definitely have crooked thoughts. The licorice roots were precious, so they had to be planted. At the same time, they had to prevent others from prying and being greedy. To prevent, they had to be deterred. To be kind, they had to be ruthless. Wang Yao stood on Nanshan Hill and looked at the mountain village in the distance. He thought a lot. He had thought more than once how good it would be if his life could continue peacefully like this. Chapter 100. When Wang Yao returned to his cottage, he received a call from Zhou Xiong. He told Wang Yao that he and his son had settled down in Lianshan County. He asked Wang Yao when he could take his son to see a doctor. "Where do you live?" "I'll go," Wang Yao said after thinking for a moment. Zhou Xiong told him the address over the phone. They agreed on a time to see Wang Yao the next morning. This should be the first time Wang Yao took the initiative to see a doctor. "I don't know. What strange disease does the child have?" The next day, Wang Yao finished his normal work and practice. He informed his family and drove to Lianshan County. Wang Yao was familiar with the place that Zhou Xiong and his son chose. It was Shenghua Hotel. He had been there more than once. When Wang Yao arrived, Zhou Xiong was already waiting outside. In a room of the hotel, Wang Yao saw Zhou Xiong's son. He was a thin child who looked to be about 7 or 8 years old. His body was thin, his face was sallow, and his eyes were not very energetic. "Kong, greet uncle. Uncle." The child's voice was very weak and weak. Although Wang Yao had not learned the method of inspection, he knew that the child was weak at first glance. His voice just now was erratic, and he did not have enough energy and spirit. The child's breathing was short and rapid, which was a sign of poor cardiopulmonary function. Wang Yao also noticed that the child's breath had a sour smell, which was caused by indigestion in his stomach. In the room, the heater was on, so it was very warm. However, the child was still wearing a cotton-padded jacket and a glove on his left hand. This should be evidence of his fear of the cold. "What's wrong with your son?" Wang Yao turned around and asked Zhou Xiong. Zhou Xiong didn't say anything. He walked up to the child and gently took off his glove. At this time, Wang Yao saw the child's left hand. It was as thin as firewood, almost all skin and bones, like a chicken's claw. Moreover, the skin was as dry as the cracked earth, without the slightest trace of vitality. Then he took off his son's jacket and rolled up his sleeve. His left arm was the same, all skin and bones. What? Not only had Wang Yao never seen such a disease before, he had never even heard of it. Mission: obtain the recognition of 100 patients or family members within 100 days. This cannot be repeated. Mission reward: 1 medical skill, 1 prescription, 1 bag of herb seed. Failure penalty: any 3 attribute points will be halved. Just then, he heard the system's quest notification. 100 days, 100 people's recognition. This mission was not easy. Including his family members, he had to treat a lot of people. Fortunately, this time, there was no special requirement of not taking the initiative to visit. Seeing Wang Yao staring at his son's arm in a daze, Zhou Xiong asked softly, "Dr. Wang, what do you think? Let me take his pulse first." Wang Yao sat down and took the child's pulse. He put his fingers on the child's wrist. His pulse was very weak and floaty. It was not like a child of 7 or 8 years old at all. At this age, vitality was extremely strong, and it could be felt from the pulse. However, this child's pulse was the opposite. His vitality was dim, and his internal organs were damaged. The most frightening thing was that he could not feel the existence of his left arm from the pulse. When he reached out to touch it, the temperature of his left arm was lower. It was a little cold. When did he start to have this disease? 3 years ago. 3 years ago? Wang Yao frowned slightly after hearing that. Then, he gently tested the child's left arm. "Do you feel anything?" "Yes." "Does it hurt?" "It doesn't hurt." It was good to feel something. After a series of diagnosis, Wang Yao had a general understanding of the child's condition. The channels and collaterals in his left arm were blocked, and the muscles were atrophied. Even the outer skin was affected to a certain extent. In the past 3 years, in order to treat this disease, the child had received various treatments and taken a lot of medicine. These medicines might have some effect, but they had a very big side effect, which was to cause considerable damage to the child's intestines and stomach. Originally, the child was in the growth stage, and his organs were much weaker than an adult. He could not withstand the long-term stimulation of medicine. The digestive system was poor, and the child's body could not absorb enough nutrients, which further worsened his condition. It was a vicious cycle. This disease was not easy to treat. Looking at the child in front of him, Wang Yao knew that he must have suffered a lot, both physically and mentally. These were not what a child should bear. Fortunately, the child was able to persist until now. "Dr. Wang, what's my son's illness?" Seeing that Wang Yao was silent, Zhou Xiong did not ask. However, seeing that he did not speak for a long time, he could not help but ask softly. Let me go back and think about it before I give you an answer, Wang Yao said. Now, the child's body was not as simple as the strange disease in his left arm. It had become a comprehensive disease. How to treat it and how to use medicine needed to be done comprehensively. Wang Yao needed to go back and think about the child's situation. He could not immediately make a decision. These are the test reports, diagnosis certificates, and medical records I used to take my son to other hospitals. Wang Yao took them and roughly looked at them. These were all backup copies. Obviously, Zhou Xiong was very thoughtful. Can I take these back and have a look? Of course, Zhou Xiong replied. Okay. After the diagnosis, Wang Yao did not stay for too long. He talked to the child named Zhou Wukong for a while. Then, he left the hotel and returned to the village. After going up to Nanshan Hill, he began to study the child's illness. He studied until the sky darkened. It's dark. Time flies. He looked up and glanced out of the window. He went home and had a meal. Even though he was on the way home, he was thinking about the child's illness while eating. At night, he carefully read the child's previous treatment process and various test reports in the cottage. From time to time, he made some notes in his notebook. The next day, in addition to taking care of the herbal field and practicing, Wang Yao spent almost all his energy thinking about the child's illness. He did this for 2 days in a row. Gradually, he had a rough idea of what to do. First treat the symptoms, then the root cause. First, let the child's body-spirit recover, eliminate the stomach, internal organs, and other problems in the body. Then, concentrate on treating the blockage of the meridians in his arm. It was almost impossible to treat. This was the treatment idea he came up with after referring to the child's treatment and diagnosis reports and medical record. After a few days of consideration, he came up with, "Okay, that's it." The plan was set. As for whether it would be successful and how far it could go, it could only be known after further treatment. Chapter 101. What are you thinking about these days? Wang Yao's mother asked softly when they were having dinner that night. She found that her son had been falling in love with God for the past 2 days, even when they were having dinner. Nothing. I'm thinking about a patient's condition, Wang Yao replied with a smile. Patient? What kind of patient? A child, Wang Yao said. Is the illness serious? It's fine. You don't have to worry so much. Wang Yao smiled at his mother. Well, don't forget that you don't have a medical qualification certificate. Don't let others rely on you, his mother said kindly. I know. After confirming the general plan, Wang Yao met with Zhou Xiong again to talk about his idea. Zhou Xiong agreed with the plan. In addition to the content in this aspect, Wang Yao also told Zhou Xiong about his own rules. The most important one was that he could not disclose anything about himself to others without his consent and permission. Wang Yao emphasized this point very strictly. Well, Zhou Xiong looked apologetic. What's wrong? Wang Yao asked. Before I came to Lianshan, I told my family. I'm afraid my parents already know about this, but I didn't tell them about your identity, Zhou Xiong said. Then tell them not to spread the news. Yes. Zhou Xiong naturally agreed to the conditions put forward by Wang Yao unconditionally. These conditions were actually not excessive. You have to be prepared for your son's illness. I don't have absolute confidence, and it can't be cured in a short time, Wang Yao added. I know that, Zhou Xiong said. In fact, for the sake of his son's illness, he had experienced unimaginable things over the years. He had already honed his character. As long as there was a glimmer of hope, he could wait, endure, and pay the price he was willing to pay. How long can you stay here? This is according to your requirements, Zhou Xiong said. We will try our best to cooperate with you. Well, please wait for 3 days, Wang Yao said after thinking for a while. Okay, but you can tell me what you want, Wang Yao said when he saw Zhou Xiong's hesitation. How much does it cost to treat my son? Before coming, Zhou Xiong had asked Wang Yao this question on the phone. However, Wang Yao's answer was to see the patient's condition first. Before seeing the patient, he did not know what medicine to use and how to treat him. Naturally, he did not know how much the treatment fee. Even now, he knew how much it would cost, because the child's son needed at least 2 different prescriptions provided by the system. At least 2 prescriptions. Regather soup. Strengthens the bones and strengthens the bones. Blood deblicking powder. Promotes blood circulation and removes blood stasis. The purpose of the regather soup was to help the child recover from the illness and the damage caused by taking various drugs in a short period of time. He was already very familiar with this medicine and had decocted it several times. However, he had never decocted the blood deblicking powder since he got the prescription. It still required 2 licorice roots, ziyu and polygonum vine. Although he had planted these 2 licorice roots, they grew very slowly. It would take a long time before they could be used for medicine. A decoction of regather soup was worth millions. There were 2 licorice roots in it, and 2 licorice roots in blood deblicking powder. He was afraid that the price would not be low. Well, I can't estimate for the time being, but the price will definitely not be low, Wang Yao said. Okay, I will try my best to prepare. Before leaving, Wang Yao looked at the child who did not speak much and looked a little shy and timid. That's true. Since it's once every 3 days, I'll use it when I need to. This idea came to his mind. According to the rules of the system, he now had the opportunity to give the system a free prescription every 3 days. He had only used it once so far because he was in contact with people who were either rich or powerful. This money was just a small amount of money for them. However, some people were different. Pay attention to the warmth of his arms. Exercise moderately. Don't hurt his arms. Okay. After saying goodbye to Zhou Xiong and his son, Wang Yao drove back home. This time, he wanted to make a detailed treatment plan. On the other side, Zhou Xiong took his son out of Shenghua Hotel and checked into a relatively cheaper hotel. Over the years, he had spent a lot of money on his son's treatment. The reason why he had been living in Shenghua these days was to wait for Wang Yao's reply. He was also afraid that Wang Yao would think that he couldn't afford the treatment and refuse to treat his son because he had heard from his good friend that the young man's treatment and prescription fees were very high. Now, Wang Yao said that it might take a long time. Moreover, from Wang Yao's speech and behavior, he could tell that Wang Yao was a kind person. Therefore, he decided to move to another place and save as much money as possible. After returning home, Wang Yao began to make a detailed treatment plan. According to his idea, the treatment of the child's body needed to be divided into several stages, and the treatment time for each stage was different. However, the specific time needed to be determined and adjusted through the actual treatment. First of all, he had to change the child's weak body. His current condition was not only that his left arm was atrophied, but also that his body had many other problems. If these problems were not treated, not only would it affect the treatment of his arm in the future, but it might also cause more serious diseases. The regather soup, which could consolidate the corporeity, was the first choice to improve the child's body and enhance the body's ability. Last time, he still had the medicine he had purchased from the herbal medicine company. As for the 2 most important medicines, Shanjing and Guiyuan, he could also exchange them from the system. After returning to Nanshan Hill, he prepared the herbs and planned to start decocting the decoction the next day. At night, in a hotel in Lianshan County, a father and son were sitting by the bed. The father was wiping the sweat of the child lying on the bed. The child frowned and seemed to be enduring some pain. He curled up on the bed. "Kong, do you feel uncomfortable?" "It's okay, Dad. I can bear it," the child gritted his teeth and said. The father was speechless. He reached out and gently patted the child's body, hoping to relieve his pain. However, it did not have much effect. "Dad, you should sleep too." "Okay." Zhou Xiong was helpless and in pain. If possible, he really wanted to suffer for his child. Chapter 102. Now, all he could do was pray that the young man introduced by his good friend could cure his son, even if it was just to relieve his pain. The next morning, the sun was warm. It seemed that it would be a nice day. Wang Yao prepared the herbs, took some firewood, and made a fire. He soaked the herbs in the ancient spring water in the multifunctional pot for herbs. The water slowly heated up and then boiled. The smell of the herbs slowly spread out. Although it was not the first time that Wang Yao had made the medicine, he was still very careful. He followed the process of making the medicine according to the prescription. In the end, the regather soup was successfully made again. Every time he made medicine, especially this kind of medicine that was provided by the system, he always gained something. While Wang Yao was making the regather soup, in a hotel in Lianshan County, Zhou Xiong and his son had a visitor. "Qixing, how come you have time to come here?" "I'm almost done with the things over there. I just happened to have something to do, so I came to see you." "How is Kong?" The visitor was He Qixing. He and Zhou Xiong had known each other for a long time. They had been friends for many years. He Qixing risked angering Wang Yao by telling Zhou Xiong that he could cure Wang Yao's son. How else can he be? Same as usual. Did he agree? Yes, and he came up with a treatment plan. Then, Zhou Xiong told his friend about the treatment plan that Wang Yao had told him about his son. Well, since he agreed, that's good. He Qixing was a little relieved. "Is he really as miraculous as you said?" Zhou Xiong said. "He is really capable. Otherwise, I wouldn't have introduced him to you. As for whether he can cure Kang's disease, we can only try," He Qixing said. "Okay." Zhou Xiong nodded and lit a cigarette. "I remember that you didn't drink or smoke in the past. The last time I saw you, you started drinking. Have you started smoking as well?" He Qixing asked. "Yes, I'll smoke one or two every now and then." Zhou Xiong was worried about his son's illness, and the habits he had developed in the past had changed. "How much of your ability do you have left?" "About this?" Zhou Xiong paused for a moment. "I wouldn't dare to say 100%, but at least a few points." When he said this, his body suddenly emitted an aura that was as fierce as fire. "It's good that you're still here. How are the uncles and aunties doing?" "I'm fine. I just worry a lot about Kong." "It will get better slowly, but you can't collapse," He Qixing said after a moment of silence. "I'll hold on." The next day after brewing the decoction, Wang Yao called Zhou Xiong and made an appointment with him. In the afternoon, he went to Lianshan County with the decoction. In the hotel where Zhou Xiong and his son were temporarily staying, Wang Yao unexpectedly saw He Qixing, who was waiting for him there. "Hello," He Qixing said with a smile. "Hey, you're here too? I'm on a business trip nearby, so I came to see them." The three of them sat together and chatted for a while. The main topic was Zhou Wukong's health. He Qixing stayed in the room for about 20 minutes, then he left. After he left, Wang Yao took out the regather soup and handed it to Zhou Xiong. "This is the decoction I brewed. Take it warm 6 times over 2 days." "Okay." Zhou Xiong took the white porcelain bottle with the decoction. When he brewed the regather soup, Wang Yao took into consideration that Wang Yao was still a child. Therefore, when he brewed the regather soup, he reduced the dosage of various herbs by half and doubled the number of times he took it. He was also afraid that Wang Yao's body was not as strong as an adult's and could not withstand the effects of the decoction. Although the decoction was very mild. "Come on, Kong, drink some decoction." While the decoction was still warm, Zhou Xiong gave his son a small cup to drink. Wang Yao did not leave immediately. Instead, he stayed in the hotel for more than an hour. After taking the decoction for an hour, he checked the child's pulse. Well, the decoction is working. In less than an hour, he felt the changes in the child's body from the pulse. It was a change for the better. This once again verified the magic of the formula provided by the system. Also, it showed that the treatment plan he had formulated before should be correct. I'll come back in 3 days. By the way, does the child have a bad night's rest? Wang Yao said. Looking at the child's listless appearance and deep eye bags, it was most likely that he did not have a good night's rest because of the illness. Yes, because of the illness, his left arm is cold. Over the years, the decoction has irritated his stomach and made him have severe abdominal pain. He can't sleep well at night, Zhou Xiong said. Wang Yao did not say anything. He thought that some parts of the treatment plan he had formulated were not comprehensive enough and needed to be improved. Well, I'll think of a way. Here are some things I've written. The main thing is to pay attention to in daily life. The focus is on diet and daily life. Take a look carefully. Wang Yao gave Zhou Xiong a list of things to take note of in his daily life that he had written down beforehand. It was a list of things that he could think of in the past 3 days to prevent his condition from worsening and to assist in his treatment, including diet, exercise, and many other things. These were all things that could assist in the treatment. Okay, thank you. After giving a few more instructions, Wang Yao took his leave. As soon as Wang Yao left, Zhou Xiong asked his son, Kong, how do you feel? He still had some doubts about Wang Yao's ability. After all, how good could such a young man's medical skills be? During the period of his son's illness, he had been seeking medical treatment everywhere. He had encountered some situations. Some doctors had prescribed medicine, but after his son took it, it did not have any effect on his illness. Instead, it hurt his body and caused him to suffer from other diseases. I don't feel anything special. I just feel that my body seems to be warmer. That's good. Once you feel uncomfortable, tell me immediately. Remember. I know, Dad. Zhou Wukong smiled slightly. Even his smile was weak and bleak. Okay. Zhou Xiong rubbed his son's dry hair and forced himself to put a smile on his face. He wanted his son to feel confident and see hope. He wanted to establish the message of life. Others could give up, but he could not. After Wang Yao returned to the village, he hurried up Nanshan Hill. He entered the cottage and took out a notebook. He wrote and drew in it, making further amendments and additions to the original treatment plan. Chapter 103. Consolidating the corporeity was a process. How long it would take to achieve the desired effect would need to be tested through actual treatment. In fact, treating the child this time was also an opportunity for Wang Yao to test his comprehensive ability. It was also an opportunity for him to follow up and observe the treatment effects of various prescriptions. Of course, there was a prerequisite for all of this, which was to ensure that the child's body would not be hurt and suffer. Even if the child's illness could not be cured, the child's physical health had to be improved so that the illness could be stopped and improved. Wang Yao was busy until late at night. He did not even go home for dinner. He wrote down all the things he could think of. In the future, such medical cases will be classified and summarized together. If possible, it can even be compiled into a book for others to refer to, Wang Yao thought. The medical books passed down by the famous ancient doctors were compiled by summarizing and classifying these practical cases. However, some of the herbs used by Wang Yao were very rare. He was afraid that they could not be found anywhere else except where he was. As a result, even if the medical cases were read by others, some of the herbs could not be made. Can these magic herbs be spread to other places under suitable conditions? Wang Yao suddenly came up with such an idea. This was the first time he had such an idea since he got the system and planted the magic herbs. These magic herbs were extraordinary and could not be compared with ordinary herbs. If they could be spread and passed down, it would definitely promote the development of the country's medical skills and create a new glory. However, this matter was too important. After careful consideration, he had to plan slowly. If he acted too hastily, not only would he not achieve positive results, but he would also bring great trouble to himself and his family. Although he was very busy these days, Wang Yao did not forget to practice and recite scriptures every day. His quiet life was not without tension and busyness. In a hotel in Lianshan County, Zhou Xiong found that his son's complexion seemed to be better. He had more vitality and his eyes seemed to be brighter. Although it was only a little, it made him very happy. "Kong, how do you feel?" "My body is warmer and more comfortable," the child said. "Good, good, good. I didn't expect Dr. Wang's medical skills to be so amazing," Zhou Xiong exclaimed. He hadn't even drunk half of the medicine, but it was already so effective. "How miraculous! Do you feel any discomfort?" Zhou Xiong was still worried. He was afraid that the medicine would cause discomfort in other areas. "No, everything else is the same as before." "That's good, that's good." 3 days later, Wang Yao came to the hotel where Zhou Xiong and his son were staying according to the previously agreed time. He then checked Zhou Wukong's pulse. Judging from his pulse, it was much steadier, which meant that his body had changed a lot compared to 3 days ago. This was a good thing, but there was still not much improvement in other areas. Through checking the pulse, Wang Yao could feel that the regather soup he had made was effective. It was improving the child's body. This also showed the magic of the prescription provided by the system, especially the regather soup. It was quite practical and could be used on almost all kinds of patients. Did you not sleep well at night? Are your abdomen and head still uncomfortable? Well, yes. Zhou Wukong's voice was very weak. This was not good. As the saying goes, it is better to eat than to nourish, and it is better to sleep than to nourish. If you want to nourish the body, you have to nourish the heart first. Wang Yao had been thinking about this issue for the past few days. It was not good for the child to not be able to rest properly. For a person, the best adjustment and rest for the body was sufficient sleep. If a person could not ensure that he had enough sleep, he would feel tired. When the body was tired, things like viruses and bacteria would be easier to invade the body, break through the human body's immune defense system, and then cause diseases. There were 2 main reasons for the child's poor sleep. One was that in the beginning, the pain in his arm made it impossible for him to sleep normally, which also disrupted his normal biological clock. If a person could not fall asleep at night, over time, it would become a regular pattern. Even if the original pain disappeared, it would take a considerable amount of time for him to return to his normal routine. The other reason was that in order to treat the disease in his arm, he received all kinds of treatment and drank a lot of medicine. This could be seen from his past diagnosis. He had taken no less than 20 kinds of medicine, including Western medicine, Chinese medicine, and prescriptions. These medicines were very toxic to his body and had destroyed the original balance in his internal organs. Moreover, he was still a child, so the function of his internal organs was weak. It was like a growing sapling that was infected with a disease. Because of a large number of medicines, the disease was not eliminated. These medicines also hurt the sapling's body, inhibiting and destroying its original vitality. In order to make the child fall asleep, there were 2 ways to start. To put it simply, the first was to calm the nerves, and the second was to relieve the pain. On the one hand, the child, because of the pain and the stimulation of the treatment process, made him long-term emotional tension and mental strength, which caused his nerves to remain in a stimulated state for a long time. In fact, the child was already suffering from a neurological disease. Tension headaches and sleep disorders were the 2 main symptoms. In this aspect of treatment, the first thing to do was to relieve his emotions and relieve his stress. In this aspect, Wang Yao had treatment methods and medicines, and Shensen could relieve depression, regulate qi, nourish the heart, and calm the nerve. It should be very suitable. On the other hand, because the child had received all kinds of treatment and taken a lot of medicine over the years, his internal organs had been seriously stimulated by the side effects and had been damaged to a certain extent. This was the direct and biggest reason for the pain in his internal organs. These damaged organs could be properly recovered by the efficacy of the regather soup, but the pain could not be eliminated in a short period of time. Therefore, external forces were needed to suppress the pain. This required analgesia. In this aspect, Wang Yao needed to go back and carefully consider and study the treatment methods and medicines in this aspect. No matter what treatment methods and medicines were used, the biggest premise was to be as gentle as possible to avoid causing adverse stimulation and harm to the child's already fragile body. After another diagnosis, Wang Yao stayed in the father and son's room for a long time. After explaining some problems and precautions, he left. Zhou Xiong tried to invite him to stay for a meal to express his gratitude, but he refused. Chapter 104. Even if you want to eat this meal, you have to wait until Kang's condition has fundamentally improved, Wang Yao said with a smile. He was very sincere. Thank you, said Zhou Xiong sincerely. He was a middle-aged man. Wang Yao drove home, had a quick meal, and went back to Nanshan Hill. He drank a cup of tea with a nice aroma. He carefully recorded the process of the diagnosis in Lianshan County and added and modified the original treatment plan. He checked it several times and thought for a long time. He put it away after making sure there was no problem. When he was done, it was almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He took out the natural classics again and read it softly. Not long after, he heard the barking of dogs outside. Someone came up the hill? Who could it be? Hey, don't you feel bored staying here all day? It was Wang Mingbao. He asked half-jokingly as soon as he entered the house. Haha, you'll get used to it. Wang Yao made tea for him with a smile. If I get tired of running the shop, I'll find a hill, build a few houses, build a small yard, plant an orchard, raise some chickens, ducks, cows, and sheep. I'll live a carefree life in the countryside, said Wang Mingbao while drinking tea. Okay, why don't you rent a hill in the village? You can keep me company, said Wang Yao with a smile. I want to, but it's not the right time now. The life outside is colorful. I haven't had enough. Maybe I'll consider it after 30 or 50 years, said Wang Mingbao. What's the matter? Yes, I do. Wang Mingbao put down the teacup and said, I want to ask, what kind of patients can you treat? How much is the consultation fee? What do you mean? Why do you suddenly ask about this? Wang Yao was surprised. I know a friend who has a strange disease. He hasn't been cured. If you can, I want you to see him, said Wang Mingbao. You told him about me? Of course not, Wang Mingbao said. I just heard him mention it when we were having dinner together. I didn't even tell my parents. If you agree, I'll tell him. If you don't agree, then forget it. In fact, he had also heard about this matter when he was having dinner with a few business partners. He had some kind of strange disease that was very painful. He had seen many doctors, but there was no good result. He also took this opportunity at the dinner table to ask for their help. He spoke very seriously and was not just casually saying it. I can't guarantee that I can cure him. You'd better give me a copy of his medical record first. Also, don't tell anyone about me, Wang Yao said. I know. I'll ask him for a medical record for you when I have time, Wang Mingbao said. All right, but let me make it clear to you first. Things might not go as he wishes. I know. Perhaps it was because the weather had warmed up. Wang Mingbao felt that Wang Yao's cottage was not so cold. Therefore, he stayed in the cottage for a longer time this time. Come to my house for dinner tonight. Grandpa has been talking about you a few days ago, Wang Mingbao said with a smile. It's no trouble. I'll go home and eat. Don't mind. It's not easy for me to come back. Usually, you don't go to the city. Okay, then tell Grandpa and Grandma not to cook specially. Just eat with them. Okay, that's a deal. Wang Mingbao finished speaking and went down the hill. When it was close to evening, Wang Yao also went down the hill. He went home and told his family that he would not be having dinner at home. Then, he took 2 bottles of wine and a box of milk to Wang Mingbao's grandfather's house. These things were brought by relatives who came to visit during the Chinese New Year. When he arrived at Wang Mingbao's grandfather's house, the 2 elders were very welcoming. Wang Yao went to the kitchen to take a look. Good Lord, several dishes were prepared. They wanted to prepare a few more dishes. He immediately stopped them. After a lot of persuasion, they cooked 6 dishes. If you continue to do this, I won't bother you in the future, Wang Yao said. We are happy that you are here, the 2 elders said with a smile. There was nothing to do at night. Wang Yao accompanied them for a drink or 2. The old man was also in high spirit. Although he was in his 70s, his body was strong and he was full of energy. Yao, thank you for what you did last time, the old man said. You are too polite. Mingbao and I are good brothers. You are also my grandfather, aren't you? Besides, it was just a matter of convenience. It didn't cost me much, Wang Yao said. I didn't expect you to be so capable, Yao, the old woman praised with a smile. It was just a coincidence, Wang Yao replied. Originally, obtaining the system was an opportunity, a great opportunity. Since then, it had completely changed his life. He ate, drank, chatted with his brother and the 2 elders. They talked about trivial matters. The 2 elders laughed heartily. He was very happy. After dinner, the 2 old men walked Wang Mingbao out of the house. Wang Mingbao walked him all the way to the entrance of the alley. It's so late. Are you still going up the hill? Yes, I am. I am used to it. You can go back. You don't have to walk me out. Okay, I will walk you here. Be careful on the road. It's okay. Wang Yao did not know how many times he had walked this road from the village to Nanshan Hill in the past 3 years. He was very familiar with this road. He dared not say that he could walk it with his eyes closed, but it was close. After reaching Nanshan Hill, Wang Yao did not go to bed immediately. Instead, he poured a cup of hot water and recited Taoist scriptures for a while before going to bed. The next day, the sky was cloudy. A few rays of sunlight shone through the gaps in the clouds. The weather was getting warmer and warmer. Angelica, Poria Cocos, Licorice Wang Yao prepared the herbs in the cottage. He was going to decoct a dose of enchantment for the child to see how it worked. He had all the herbs needed to make this medicine. When it was close to noon, the smell of herbs wafted out of the cottage. The firewood was burning. Above the flame, the spring water in the multifunctional pot for herbs was boiling. The efficacy of various herbs was slowly being emitted and integrated into the spring water. He was already very familiar with this medicine. Seeing the color of the decoction change, smelling the scent, and calculating the time needed to brew it, he added the last ingredient, the moonlight herb, and waited for it to dissolve. The medicinal power also entered the decoction, and the decoction was considered to be complete. This medicine could be used to calm the nerve. In this way, the child's illness was treated. Next, he had to find a way to suppress the pain in the internal organs, especially the stomach. At least, he had to be able to sleep peacefully at night. Chapter 105. Wang Yao had prescriptions that could relieve pain, but they were all from Chinese medicine books, not the prescriptions provided by the system. In other words, the effect might not be as good. If he wanted a better effect, or even an immediate effect, he had to study them one by one. This one won't work. Although it can expel cold and relieve pain, it's too hot and not gentle enough. This one won't work either. The part of the effect is too different. By evening, Wang Yao had studied dozens of prescriptions, but he couldn't find a suitable one. Let's look again. If there's no suitable prescription, I'll have to choose the mildest one and make some changes. With Wang Yao's current knowledge of medicine, he was already quite rich. He had read some books related to medicine, and the system had also instilled a lot of knowledge into him. In fact, he could already try to combine different medicines to form prescriptions. To put it simply, it was an original prescription. However, a qualified prescription needed to go through a lot of experiments and clinical tests. After confirming that there were no mistakes, it could be used and promoted. This was a very long process. Wang Yao could only take a step back and make some changes to the prescription that had already been tested. He didn't change the pharmacology and the main medicines. This was equivalent to not changing the main framework and only changing the small branches. This way, the risk was much lower. Then, he took out the 2 volumes of the catalog of magic herbs from the system grid and flipped through them, trying to find the magic herbs that could relieve pain. After a closer look, there was indeed more than one. In the end, Wang Yao chose one of them. Octagonal tongue. Clearing heat, detoxifying, removing blood stasis, and relieving pain. This magic herb had a single leaf with 8 edges. It was shaped like a lotus and grew on the ground. In fact, there were other magic herbs in the catalog of magic herbs that could also relieve pain, or even have better effects. However, with his current conditions, he could only exchange for the octagonal tongue. In addition to the octagonal tongue, it would be best if there was a medicine that could harmonize the internal organs, especially the stomach. In this way, when used together, it could treat the child's other illnesses except for the left arm. After these treatments, he could treat the body part that was the most difficult to treat. The calming and pain-relieving medicines can't conflict or counteract each other. I have to think about it carefully. In the past 2 days, other than taking care of the medicinal field and cultivating, Wang Yao was unusually busy. According to the agreed time, Wang Yao went to Lianshan County again. This time, he brought the anshensen that had been decocted long ago. After seeing Zhou Wukong, Wang Yao checked his pulse again. This time, Zhou Wukong's health was better than a few days ago. This meant that the regather soup was still working, and it was necessary for Zhou Wukong to continue taking it. Zhou Wukong's breathing was stronger, and the smell he exhaled had changed slightly. The condition of his intestines and stomach should have improved as well. However, Zhou Wukong's spirit was still low, and the bags under his eyes were still deep. This meant that his lack of sleep had not improved at all. Well, the situation is better than a few days ago, Wang Yao said after the diagnosis. Yes, Kong also feels better than a few days ago. In the past few days, he could see that his son's health was continuously changing in a good direction, which made him very happy and excited. You still can't sleep well at night, right? Yes, I still can't sleep well. I can't sleep well, Zhou Xiong said. In fact, his son's longest sleep at night was only half an hour. After that, he would wake up and then go back to sleep. This kind of intermittent sleep was not considered much sleep at all. This is a medicine. It can relieve depression, regulate qi, nourish the heart and calm the nerve. It can help him sleep well. The way to take it is the same as the previous medicine. Wang Yao took out the medicine that he had prepared in advance. Yes. Zhou Xiong took the medicine with both hands. After the medicine, his son's health had significantly improved and changed. This made him realize the magical medical skills of the young man in front of him. He was shocked and admired in his heart. This medicine should also have an unexpected effect. After taking the medicine, Zhou Xiong let his son drink a small cup. It will take some time for the effect of this medicine to appear. I won't continue to stay here. In the next few days, don't go far. I will come to treat him at any time, Wang Yao said to Zhou Xiong. Okay. Zhou Xiong hurriedly responded. After treating Zhou Wukong, Wang Yao left. The weather outside was relatively good. The spring breeze was warm. He was not in a hurry to leave. He drove around the county town, walked in the park, and sat down at Wang Mingbao's doorstep shop. He chatted with him for a while. How come you have time to come today? I saw a patient and treated him, Wang Yao said. A patient? You have a house call? You don't have a certificate, right? Will there be any trouble? Wang Mingbao was surprised. It should be no problem. Wang Yao looked down at the teacup in his hand. What illness does that person have? Wang Mingbao asked curiously. It's a strange illness. His arms are as dry as firewood. What? Wang Mingbao was shocked. The patient is still a child, Wang Yao whispered. Does he have to endure a lot of pain? Wang Mingbao asked in a low voice. Yes, there are two aspects, Wang Yao said. On the one hand, the illness has brought him a lot of torture. On the other hand, the illness has been tormenting him psychologically. After all, he is only a 10-year-old child. I think this aspect is even scarier. However, this child is strong and has been able to hold on until now. Through these few contacts, although the child was not good at talking and was even a little introverted, his eyes were very strong. The illness over the years had crushed his will. Some adults might not have such a strong will. If the child was lucky enough to get through this difficult and bumpy life, then he would have a bright future. In fact, the reason why Wang Yao was so sad this time was most likely that after seeing the child, he felt that he was very pitiful and wanted to help him. Then, after seeing the child's strength, he felt that it was necessary to help the child and do his best to change his current situation. Oh, by the way, this is my friend's case. Take a look. Wang Mingbao took out a file from his desk and put it in Wang Yao's hand. After taking it, Wang Yao opened it and took a look. Skin disease, ulceration? Wang Mingbao's friend's disease was a bit strange. His body was red and swollen, then ulcerated. The wound turned purple and was extremely difficult to heal. Moreover, it was seasonal. The illness was severe in summer and worse in other seasons. It was the lightest in winter. Over the years, the illness had occurred every year, and there was a trend of it getting worse. Chapter 106. What does your friend do? Wang Yao put away the medical records and diagnosis report and asked. At first, he dealt in seafood. Now, he's involved in seafood farming. His business is not small. There's a big seafood farm in Hike, Wang Mingbao said. I'll take this back and have a look. I'm not free these days. I have to treat the child first. For him now, the most important patient was Zhou Xiong's son. It's okay. There's no hurry. It doesn't matter if you don't see him. Wang Mingbao smiled and said, I just have some business dealings with him. I can talk to him. He's rich. You can earn some money. Okay, I know. The two brothers chatted for a while. Wang Yao then left. After returning to Nanshan Hill, he began to think about making medicine that could relieve pain. The medicine shop did not provide the corresponding medicine and prescription for the time being. It was probably because his level was not high enough. After referring to the Chinese medicine prescription, Wang Yao finally only chose a few herbs: Corydalus yanhusuo, Dahurian angelica, and licorice. The first two could promote blood circulation and relieve pain. The second could dispel wind and cold and relieve pain. As for licorice, it could neutralize the medicine effect, adding the panacea, which also had the effect of relieving pain. The medicine was simple but specialized. It focused on relieving pain. However, Wang Yao had to go to the county because he did not plant Corydalus yanhusuo. He needed to buy some. After the beginning of spring, it was March in the blink of an eye. It was really spring. The weather was obviously warmer. The willow trees by the river began to sprout. The villagers also began to go up the mountain to start spring plowing. Spring plowing was shallow, autumn plowing was deep. Spring plowing was like turning a cake, autumn plowing was like digging a well. There were more and more people on the mountain. Wang Yao also began to think about the medicine field. He tried to plant the licorice roots appropriately. However, there had to be enough protection around to prevent people with bad intentions from coming to make trouble. The fertility of the land had already shown signs of being stretched. He had to consider setting up a formation. First, he had to gather spirit and then live spirit. He had to treat illnesses and save people, plant medicinal herbs, and also consider setting up formations. This was going to be a lot of work. Every day, he would tend to the herbal field, cultivate and recite scriptures. Naturally, he would need to spend the rest of his time treating illnesses and thinking about how to set up the formation. During this time, he would also need to go out. For this reason, he had set up a daily schedule, arranged it reasonably, and planned it reasonably. On this day, Wang Yao went to Lianshan County. First, he went to the place where Zhou Xiong and his son lived. This time, Wu Yukong's complexion was obviously better than the last time they met. His complexion looked better, and his eyes looked more energetic. Wang Yao checked his pulse. After a while, he turned to Zhou Xiong and said, "It's getting better." "Yes, yes, yes. Since he drank the sedative you sent last time, he can also sleep at night." Zhou Xiong said yes 3 times in a row. He was overflowing with excitement. Now, he was completely convinced by Wang Yao. It was just 2 doses of medicine. In less than a week, his son's condition had improved significantly. This was simply unimaginable in the past. For this reason, he specially called home yesterday to tell his family the good news. His family was also very happy after hearing it. "This child, does his abdomen still hurt?" "Well, yes, the headache is a lot better, but the abdominal pain is still there," Zhou Xiong said. Now, his son could sleep for more than 3 hours in a row every night. He woke up 3 or 4 times a night. It sounded like he couldn't sleep well, but compared to before, this was already a huge improvement. It was a change that made him very happy. "Well, I'll go back and think about it. Dr. Wang, how long do you think this treatment process will take?" Zhou Xiong asked. "It's hard to say, but it will definitely last for a while." "Why? Are you going back?" Wang Yao asked. "No, it's like this. I'm going to rent a house nearby. It's also convenient to take care of Kong. After all, it's not a good idea to always stay in a hotel." "Well, that's good. I guess this treatment process will last for a while," Wang Yao said. Staying in a hotel like the one the father and son lived in cost at least 200 yuan a night. After 10 days, it was nearly 2,000 yuan. In a small town like Lianshan County, even if it was a school district house, the price of a month would not exceed 2,000 yuan, and it had to be a very good house. If they planned to live here for a long time, it was more suitable to rent a house. "Well, I'll go out and have a look tomorrow. If I change places, I'll inform you." "Okay." After leaving Zhou Xiong's house, Wang Yao went to the herbal medicine company again. He found Manager Li and ordered some herbs, mainly wild corydalus. He set a time to pick them up. When Wang Yao rushed home, he found that there was one more person at home. It was Tian Yuantu. He was chatting with his parents. "Brother Tian? Yao, you're back. I've been waiting for you for a while." "Sorry, I went to Lianshan County. You should have called me before you came," Wang Yao said. "It's okay. I just happened to be nearby and came to have a look," Tian Yuantu said with a smile. "You guys talk first." After a few words, Wang Yao's parents took the opportunity to leave. "What's the matter?" Wang Yao said. "Well, my friend wants to see you very much. In 2 days, he will come to Lianshan County. Are you free?" "What's the identity of your friend?" Wang Yao said. A friend's request made Tian Yuantu so concerned. That person's identity was definitely not ordinary. "He's the municipal party secretary of Hike City." Tian Yuantu revealed the true identity of his friend. Wang Yao was shocked when he heard that. The head of a city. What a powerful background. No wonder Tian Yuantu was so concerned. This invitation was really hard to refuse. He had no choice. He was under the rule of this person. Moreover, Wang Yao also heard from Wang Mingbao that this Mr. Secretary had just taken office. It was estimated that he would stay in Hike City for a few years. Presumably, Wang Mingbao's father was able to smoothly get the position last time thanks to this person's help. One word from him was enough to make the people below overturn all the previous decisions. A high official could oppress people to death. There were benefits to meeting him, but there were also troubles. Okay, then I'll meet him. After lowering his head and thinking for a moment, Wang Yao made a decision. Okay, then I'll arrange it. Tian Yuantu was very happy to hear that. In fact, he came to find Wang Yao today specifically for this matter. He was worried about this matter. What if Wang Yao refused again? His friend had mentioned this matter more than once. Fortunately, he didn't expect Wang Yao to agree so quickly. He didn't stay in Wang Yao's house for long and left. Chapter 107. Well, Wang Yao rubbed his forehead. From the bottom of his heart, he didn't want to meet with such a big shot, at least not now. After all, the other party was a lord of a land, and he was just a commoner. He wanted to live a peaceful life and not have too much contact with these nobles. However, since the other party had already made such a request, he couldn't reject it a second time. Such a person probably didn't want to be humiliated by others. What's wrong, Yao? Zhang Xiuying asked in a low voice. Nothing, just thinking about something, Wang Yao said with a smile. After having dinner at home, Wang Yao went back to Nanshan Hill. When he went up the hill, he recited a volume of Taoist scriptures. Those annoying things were selectively forgotten. The next morning, just as he finished his work, he received a phone call. It was from Zhou Xiong. He said that he wanted to invite him to dinner to express his gratitude. No, it's really not necessary, Wang Yao said on the phone. Later, he heard from Zhou Xiong that his father actually came to Lianshan County and wanted to express his gratitude in person. Wang Yao thought for a moment and decided to go. After all, the old man had traveled thousands of miles to come here. If he didn't go, they might come straight to his house. After informing his family, Wang Yao drove to Lianshan County. Zhou Xiong set up a table at the best hotel in Lianshan County to entertain Wang Yao. There, Wang Yao met Zhou Xiong's father and his sister. The old man looked very energetic. Although his hair was white, his body was strong and full of confidence. There was a special momentum in his body. Zhou Xiong's sister was a soldier. She was probably a few years older than Wang Yao. She was not handsome, but valiant and valiant. She was quite a woman who was not inferior to men. They took the plane last night and arrived in Lianshan County this morning. Seeing his grandson's condition, the old man was unusually happy and shocked. He loved his grandson very much. Naturally, he was very familiar with his grandson's condition. He dared not say that there was a big difference between how he was when he left home and how he was now, but there was a great improvement. It was only 10 days. For this reason, he strongly urged his son to meet this miraculous doctor and express his gratitude to him. So young. As soon as they saw Wang Yao in person, whether it was the old man or Zhou Xiong's sister, they both sighed secretly. It was really rare for such a young man to have such ability. Wang Yao greeted Zhou Xiong's father and sister with a smile. He was very polite. After the host and the guests were seated, the dishes were quickly served. It was very sumptuous. They could not eat at all because of the heat. Because Wang Yao was driving, he did not drink. The Zhou family did not persuade him too much. However, they were still very enthusiastic and expressed their gratitude to Wang Yao. For them, Kang's illness was their heart disease. Now, after Wang Yao's treatment, there was an obvious improvement. This was something that the whole family should celebrate. The enthusiasm of the family made Wang Yao unable to bear it. It was the first time he encountered such a situation. He could only respond with respect. The more humble he was, the more the family, especially Zhou Xiong's father, felt that he was extraordinary. If it were not for the fact that he could not drink while driving, he would have drunk this young man. After several glasses of wine, Zhou Xiong's father said loudly, "Dr. Wang, I have a small request." "Go ahead. Next time, don't drive. Let's have a few glasses of wine. What do you think?" "Okay," Wang Yao replied with a smile. Through this short conversation, he also felt that the old man was a person with a temperament. He was respectable, lovely, and worth making friends with. Then it's settled. "Come on, let's have a toast." Both the host and the guests enjoyed the meal. After the meal, Wang Yao left. The family watched him go. "I didn't expect there to be such a person in this small mountain town. Not only is his medical skills amazing, but he is also extraordinary and has a noble temperament." Zhou Xiong's father sighed. "Yes, if I didn't experience it myself and see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it," Zhou Xiong said. "How long will Kang's illness be treated?" "He didn't say, but it definitely won't be for a short period of time. I've already found a house nearby. It's quite quiet, so I'm renting it temporarily. When he recovers, we'll go back," Zhou Xiong said. "Well, that's good. By the way, Dad, sister, his matter must be kept a secret. It must not be spread. I heard from Qixing that because of our matter, his friendship with Dr. Wang was almost broken." Zhou Xiong did not forget to remind his family. "You don't need to tell me this. I know it in my heart. Before I left, I had already told your mother that this matter is only known to a few people in our family. If anyone spreads it out, they will be punished." After saying goodbye to Zhou Xiong and his father, Wang Yao was not in a hurry to go home. Instead, he went to the medicinal materials company to see if the medicinal materials he wanted had arrived. Manager Li saw his car drive into the courtyard in the office and personally came out to greet him. "Why didn't you tell me in advance that you were coming?" Manager Li said with a smile. Then, he let Wang Yao into the house and poured some water. "Don't be busy. I just stopped by to see if the medicinal materials I wanted have arrived." "Oh, it's not so fast. They will arrive tomorrow. Why don't you tell me the place and I will send them to you directly?" Manager Li said. "Tomorrow? Then I will come again tomorrow." It just so happened that he had to go to the city again tomorrow to attend the banquet. "Okay, ouch." Manager Li was talking to Wang Yao. Suddenly, he covered his stomach with a painful expression. Cold sweat appeared on his forehead. He quickly took out a bottle of medicine from his pocket, unscrewed the cap, poured a few pills from the inside, and put them into his mouth. Then, he took the tea on the table and drank it directly. After a while, the expression on his face relaxed. "Manager Li, what happened to you?" Wang Yao asked when he saw the situation. "Stomachache. It's an old problem. I made a fool of myself in front of you," Manager Li said with a smile. "You have to be treated if you are sick. Also, you can't take medicinal tea. Some medicines should not be drunk with tea." Wang Yao kindly reminded him. "Haha, yes. You also know medicine?" Manager Li asked a little curiously after listening. "I know a little," Wang Yao said. "Really? Can you let me take a look?" Manager Li said with a smile. In fact, he just said it casually. "Drink a cup of tea and wait for a while," Wang Yao said with a smile. After a while, Wang Yao signaled Manager Li to stretch out his arm, find a towel, and take his pulse. "It really seems like it," Manager Li thought to himself. He didn't expect that the other party would actually take his joke seriously. Manager Li had taken medicine at this time, which had a certain interference with his pulse. Wang Yao reached out to take the pulse. His eyes narrowed slightly and he concentrated. Hiss, this pulse is not good. The gastrointestinal injury has been for a long time and cannot be cured in time. He can only rely on external medicine to forcibly suppress it. In this way, it is like suppressing a fire. Not to mention that it cannot be suppressed, it will erupt sooner or later. At that time, the illness will only be more serious and intense. The illness in front of him is not light. If he wants to treat it, the sooner the better. It can't be delayed. Wang Yao withdrew his hand and was silent. What's wrong? Manager Li asked hurriedly. Manager Li, forgive me for asking, when was the last time you went to the hospital for a checkup? About half a year ago? Manager Li said. What's wrong? If I'm not wrong, you should have been diagnosed with gastrointestinal problems at that time, especially the stomach. There should be inflammation, right? You are right. Hearing Wang Yao's words, Manager Li was stunned. At that time, during his regular physical examination, he did find that there was inflammation in his stomach, and it was not light. At that time, the doctor prescribed him some medicine and told him to pay attention to his life, eat less stimulating food, and must stop drinking. At that time, he did pay attention to the doctor's advice for a period of time. However, as the discomfort in his stomach disappeared, he gradually lost control in his life. Because of his work, there were many social activities. Once he started drinking, he became addicted and could not quit. During this time, he began to have relapses and had severe abdominal pain. Listen to my advice, Manager Li. Go to the hospital immediately and do a systematic checkup, especially the stomach. Wang Yao was very serious because the condition of the person in front of him was not optimistic. It could not be delayed. Manager Li was stunned for a while after hearing this. Brother, I'll listen to you. I'll go for a checkup now. Chapter 108. Although Manager Li agreed verbally, he was still a little hesitant in his heart. However, seeing Wang Yao's serious expression, he was also a little scared. These days, he was indeed not feeling well. Due to the fact that he was afraid of going to the hospital to check out his illness, he did not dare to go. He had been delaying his treatment. He only found an outpatient clinic to prescribe some medicine. When he was in pain, he would take some. When he was not in pain, he would not care about it. However, he did not think carefully that the young man in front of him had no reason to lie to him. Okay, then I won't disturb you. When the herbs are here, please inform me. Wang Yao smiled and got up to leave. He had said what he needed to say. As for whether he would listen to his advice or not, it was up to him. Okay. After Wang Yao drove away, Manager Li paced back and forth in the house. After hesitating for a while, he also drove to Lianshan County's hospital for a physical examination. The examination was not serious. He really found that there was a problem with his body. There were gastritis, gastric ulcers, and perforations. The doctor advised him to be hospitalized and undergo surgery. If he was not careful, part of his stomach might be removed. Manager Li was shocked after hearing this. He immediately called an acquaintance to help him. He looked at the examination results and got the same answer. The situation was serious and it was best to undergo surgery. Seeing that he was reluctant to make a decision, his friend gave him a suggestion. Why don't you go to a bigger hospital nearby? Seeing that he was reluctant to make a decision, his friend gave him a suggestion. Okay, I'll go take a look nearby. He drove directly to the nearby Weiqing Hospital, which was also a relatively famous hospital near Lianshan County. Because he rushed there late, the specialists had basically gotten off work. He stayed in a hotel near the hospital for the night. Early the next morning, he went to the hospital for a checkup and arranged for the specialists. The results were similar, but the treatment plan given by the specialists was relatively conservative. The treatment plan given by the specialists was relatively conservative. At the same time, he had to pay attention to his diet and strictly prohibit smoking and drinking. Otherwise, it would further worsen. At that time, he would have to undergo surgery. Only then did he breathe a sigh of relief. In Lianshan County, Wang Yao got up early. As soon as he came down from Nanshan Hill, he received a call from Tian Yuantu, asking him to go to Lianshan County and make an appointment to have lunch with that person. Wang Yao said goodbye to his family and then went to the county. He met up with Tian Yuantu, dropped off the car, and took Tian Yuantu's car to a hotel far away. It was in the suburbs and relatively secluded. Its appearance was just ordinary, but after entering, he found that the decoration was extraordinary. When they arrived, they entered the private room they had booked in advance. While Tian Yuantu and the boss were talking, Wang Yao found out that there were only 3 tables of guests in this hotel today. Secretary Yang is still inspecting in Lianshan County. He'll be here soon. Let's wait for a while. All right. The tea was quickly served. It wasn't a famous product, but it was good tea. This is the tea from the hotel. It's local tea from Lianshan. It's all natural. Try it. Tian Yuantu poured a cup of tea for Wang Yao. Okay, thank you. This tea was not as fragrant and tasty as Westlake Longjing tea and Chimen black tea, but it had a faint unique fragrance and tasted good. Wang Yao and Tian Yuantu drank tea and chatted in the private room. The waiter also served some nuts. In Lianshan County, the main leaders of the county and county committee were accompanying the municipal party secretary and a group of people to inspect the construction of resettlement houses for the displaced families. It was almost noon, so naturally they had to arrange lunch for them. Secretary General He, lunch has been arranged. What do you think? The municipal party secretary asked softly. Wait a moment. He then asked the elegant middle-aged man. I won't be having lunch here today. I have something to do at noon. You stay and accompany them. Okay. Hearing that the leader wouldn't be having lunch here, the leaders of the county were a little disappointed. After all, it was a good opportunity to have close contact with the leader. Wang Yao and Tian Yuantu waited for more than an hour before they saw a black car driving into the courtyard. A secretary-like man got out of the car and quickly walked to the other side to open the car door. An elegant man wearing glasses got out of the car. He looked to be in his 40s. He was slightly plump and well-maintained. This is... After seeing the man, the boss of the hotel was stunned. He and Tian Yuantu were old acquaintances. Tian Yuantu didn't take good care of his business. Tian Yuantu only said that he was going to entertain a distinguished guest today and asked the hotel to serve as few guests as possible. For this reason, he was very cooperative. Today, he received a few calls to book a table, but they were all rejected. There were 2 tables that had some background, and they were also regular customers. He had no choice but to accept them. After all, to be able to hear the words VIP from Tian Tuyuan's mouth, the other party's identity must be extraordinary. At first, when Tian Tuyuan brought a young man, he thought that the young man was the VIP that he was talking about. Until now, he finally understood who the VIP was. The head of a city was a distinguished guest. He had to treat him well. He had to be 120% alert. He couldn't let anything go wrong. After the shock, he was worried. This was the first time his hotel had received such a person. Tian Yuantu and Wang Yao came out and welcomed Secretary Yang into the private room. Dr. Wang, I wanted to invite you for a long time, but I didn't have the chance. I didn't expect you to be so young. Secretary Yang said with a smile. He gave people the feeling that he was very gentle and easy to talk to. Sorry, I was busy a while ago. Wang Yao replied with a smile. He was not nervous. He was calm and natural. He was neither servile nor overbearing. I should be sorry. Your medical skills are extraordinary. My mother's health is much better. I should thank you in person, Secretary Yang said with emotion. It's good that she's getting better. Wang Yao really didn't have any experience in dealing with such a person on such an occasion. He just tried to speak as little as possible. When they were talking in the private room, the owner of the hotel was busy. He first told the chef, then found the steadiest waiter to serve the dishes. In the private room, Secretary Yang was very talkative. He asked Wang Yao a lot of things. If his colleagues and subordinates saw this, they would be shocked. In their eyes, Secretary Yang was a man of few words and was very dignified. The dishes were cooked and served quickly. The amount was not big, but it was very delicate. Let me tell you first. Today's meal is on me, Secretary Yang said. Okay, it's on you, Tian Yuantu said with a smile. The wine was brought by Secretary Yang's secretary. It was a special wine. At the table, Secretary Yang expressed his gratitude to Wang Yao and made a toast to him. After a few glasses of wine, Wang Yao felt that his stomach was burning. Fortunately, Secretary Yang didn't suggest drinking too much. He probably had other work in the afternoon. Secretary Yang was talkative. Tian Yuantu was also a master at the table. The atmosphere at the table was very good. The meal didn't take too long. Dr. Wang, your medical skills are extraordinary. Can you let me have a look today? Secretary Yang said half-jokingly. You are healthy. It's just that your lungs are too hot and your throat is dry. You should eat a light diet and smoke less and drink less, Wang Yao said. Huh! Secretary Yang was stunned. He then gave a thumbs up. Amazing! What he said just now was actually just a casual remark. At his level, he had to have a regular physical examination every once in a while. He just had a checkup. He was healthy and didn't have any major problems. It was just that his throat was a little uncomfortable. This young man in front of him could actually see it at a glance. He didn't even check his pulse. In this case, there were only two possibilities. First, the young man in front of him had extraordinary medical skills. Second, he was just guessing. The second possibility could basically be ruled out. Could only be the first. Can you tell me how you saw it? Sorry. Wang Yao shook his head. In fact, it was very difficult to diagnose Secretary Yang's condition. Secretary Yang was sitting at the same table and was not too far away. Wang Yao could tell something by listening to Secretary Yang. Secretary Yang coughed from time to time after sitting down. It was a dry cough. His breath was hot. This was mostly caused by the heat in his lungs. After seeing Wang Yao's extraordinary medical skills with his own eyes, Secretary Yang drank a few more glasses. His secretary didn't follow him in. Instead, he waited outside. He looked at his watch from time to time and then looked back at the private room behind him. Chapter 109. The atmosphere of the meal was very good. Secretary Yang, who was in charge of a region, did not show any sense of superiority. On the contrary, he was very approachable. After the meal, Secretary Yang arranged his secretary to pay the bill. He chatted with Wang Yao and Tian Yuantu for a while before leaving. Seeing that he was about to leave, the restaurant owner, who had been paying attention, hurriedly came out to see him off. After Secretary Yang left, the restaurant owner smiled and said to Tian Yuantu, Director Tian, you scared me. This distinguished guest's background is too big. Haha, although your restaurant is small, it can still accommodate a big bodhisattva, right? Tian Yuantu replied with a smile. And he's not the only distinguished guest. See, there's another one. He pointed at Wang Yao. Oh, can you introduce him? The restaurant owner was a shrewd person. Imagine, if he could have a meal with the wealthy person in Lianshan County and the powerful official in charge of a region who had just left, how bad could his identity be? Tian Yuantu did not say much. He just introduced a little and got in the car with Wang Yao. There was already a driver waiting in the car. Tian Yuantu did not know when he arrived. Tian Yuantu's arrangement was very detailed. You drank wine, so don't drive. I'll ask someone to take you back. In the car, Tian Yuantu said to Wang Yao. Okay. Later, Tian Yuantu specially arranged for someone to drive Wang Yao's car to take him home. He also went to the medicinal materials company on the way to pick up the medicine that had already been ordered. On the way back, Wang Yao unexpectedly received a call from Manager Li. The other party's first sentence made him very surprised. Brother, I don't have to say anything. Thank you. The sudden gratitude made Wang Yao a little confused. What's going on? After Mr. Li said a few more words, Wang Yao understood. After the meeting yesterday, Manager Li thought for a long time and listened to his advice. Then, he went to Lianshan County Hospital for a checkup. The result was that his stomach disease was very serious. The doctor in the county hospital said that he needed an operation. He was so scared that he hurriedly went to Weiqing People's Hospital for a checkup. He was still in Weiqing now. When I go back, I will definitely express my gratitude. Manager Li was very polite on the phone. His gratitude was also sincere. After chatting for a while, the two ended the call. Regarding this matter, Wang Yao still felt that it was very dramatic. The driver sent by Tian Yuantu drove him back to the village, and then left in a taxi. Wang Yao originally wanted to invite him to his house to have a cup of tea and rest, but the other party didn't agree. He stood at the entrance of the village and waited for a taxi. After waiting for a while, the taxi finally arrived. Wang Yao could only smile helplessly. Did you drink? After returning home, Zhang Xiuying smelled alcohol on her son from afar. Just a little. How can you drink while driving? Zhang Xiuying was dissatisfied. I didn't drive myself. Someone drove me back. Then why didn't you invite him in? He has something to do. He left first. Wang Yao could only answer like this. He couldn't say that he invited him in, but he didn't want to come in. After sitting at home for a while and drinking a cup of water, Wang Yao went back to Nanshan Hill. Perhaps because his body was several times stronger than that of ordinary people, this little amount of alcohol didn't make him feel much. He only felt a slight heat in his stomach, dizziness, and drunkenness. He didn't have any adverse reactions. The medicinal materials for making the painkillers had been gathered, but Wang Yao was not in a hurry to decoct the medicine. He walked around the hill a few times. Then, he made a cup of tea and read a scripture. He didn't go home at night. He cooked a pot of egg noodles on the hill. He ate some himself and shared some with San Xian and Xia. Then, he thought about the spirit-gathering battle array again. He didn't go to bed until late at night. The next morning, he got up early and started his daily life and cultivation. Outside the cottage, the sun had risen. The sunlight was bright and beautiful. The fire was rising and the spring water was boiling. This time, it was easier to decoct the medicine because there were very few medicinal materials. There were only 4 herbs. 3 ordinary medicinal materials had been added in order. The last one was a licorice root. The leaves of bajiatong were like lotuses. The leaves were as green as jade. The licorice root was added last. Although it didn't dissolve in water like the detoxification herb, it dissolved very quickly. Soon, the medicine in the pot was dyed green. The smell of the medicine filled the cottage. The decocting process for this medicine was simpler and the time taken was shorter. As for the efficacy, it depended on the actual effect. After the medicine was ready, he put it in a container prepared in advance. He was not in a hurry to go to Lianshan County. Bah! Bah! Suddenly, there was a sheep bleating outside. Woof! 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 Then, there was the sound of San Xian barking. Wang Yao went out and saw a sheep in the herbal field. He didn't know how it got into the herbal field. It jumped a few times and then was pushed to the ground by San Xian. This scene surprised Wang Yao. The sheep was even bigger than San Xian, but it was easily pushed down by San Xian. It showed that San Xian was very strong. San Xian, don't bite. San Xian still wanted to bite the sheep. It went straight for the sheep's throat. It was a vital attack. Get up. San Xian let go of the sheep. The sheep wanted to run away, but it was caught by Wang Yao. He pressed it gently. It was pressed to the ground and couldn't move. Yao, that's my sheep. At this time, a shout came from outside. Looking in the direction of the voice, it was an old man in his 50s. Wang Yao looked at him and recognized him. They were from the same village, and this man was also his elder. Uncle, why did your sheep come here? It was almost bitten by my dog, Wang Yao said with a smile. I didn't look after it for a while. Sorry. The man outside smiled. Sigh. The middle-aged man suddenly felt the saplings in front of him shake a few times. He blinked hard. The saplings were still shaking. Oh no. Is it the dizziness again? The man was scared. He slowly squatted down and found a place to sit down. He gently rubbed his head. Uncle, what's wrong with you? Wang Yao saw the situation. He took the sheep out of the herbal field. It's nothing. I'm a little dizzy. I'll be fine after some rest, the man said as he rubbed his forehead. Is that so? Sit here and rest. I'll get you a glass of water. After that, Wang Yao turned back to get water. When he came out, he saw that the man was rubbing his eyes while looking at the saplings, talking as he rubbed. Strange. Why is it that I'm looking at double shadows? So it's because of this. Wang Yao understood. It was right that he had hallucinations while looking at the saplings. This was an illusion. Uncle, you're tired. Take a good rest after you go down the mountain. When you feel better, you can come out to take care of the sheep. Wang Yao could only explain. Oh, thank you. The man took the cup and drank some water. He got up and was about to go down the mountain. Suddenly, his whole body shook and he almost fell. He stood firm and continued to walk forward. What? Wang Yao saw this and slightly frowned. Uncle, wait a moment. Wang Yao stopped the man. What's wrong, Yao? Let me check your heartbeat. Wang Yao put his finger on the man's wrist. This action stunned the middle-aged man, but he didn't say anything. Instead, he squatted down and was very cooperative. He concentrated and checked the man's pulse. After a while, Wang Yao removed his hand and asked, Uncle, when you woke up today, did you feel that the left side of your head was numb and that your left leg was not listening to you? You said it like that. What's wrong? The middle-aged man listened. He did feel that his head was numb in the morning. His body was not listening to him, especially on the left side. However, he didn't take it seriously. He just thought that he was tired and went up the mountain to take care of the sheep as usual. Hurry up and call your family and ask them to come up and pick you up. You should go to the hospital to have a checkup, Wang Yao advised. Are you saying that I'm sick? The old man hurriedly asked. It's possible and it's very likely. You'd better go and have a look. Wang Yao was afraid that the old man didn't believe him, so he said it more seriously. I didn't bring my phone, the middle-aged man said. I have it here. You can use mine. Okay. The old man doubtfully took out his phone and made a call. His son was anxious. After answering the phone, he rode a motorcycle up the mountain in a short while. At this time, Wang Yao also helped his father down the mountain. After meeting, the young man, who was only a few years older than Wang Yao, asked anxiously, Dad, where are you feeling unwell? When Uncle was taking care of the sheep on the mountain, his body shook and he almost fell. His scalp was numb. You should go to the hospital with him. There may be a blood clot, Wang Yao said. Blood clot? The young man frowned. He turned to look at his father and then looked at Wang Yao. He thought to himself, isn't this brat collecting herbs on the mountain? Since when did he know how to treat illnesses? Could it be that he's talking nonsense to scare people? I also hope that I'm wrong, but this illness can't be delayed. You should take your uncle to the hospital. Looking at the young man's eyes, Wang Yao knew what he was thinking. No matter what he thought, he still had to persuade him. He had just checked the middle-aged man's pulse. His physical condition was not good. There was a blood clot in his brain. It couldn't be delayed. For this kind of illness, even if it was delayed for a few minutes, it could lead to terrible consequences. Thank you. The young man didn't say much. He took his father down the mountain on the motorcycle. What about the sheep? The old man asked while sitting on the motorcycle. I'll have to trouble you to take care of the sheep for a while. The young man turned back and shouted at Wang Yao. Take care of the sheep? Wang Yao turned to look at the 3 sheep beside him. Ba ba. The young man took his father down the mountain and stopped the motorcycle at the door of the house. Dad, are you okay? The young man still didn't trust Wang Yao. They were in the same village. Wang Yao was a famous person in the village. A few months ago, he lost all his money from planting herbs and wanted to commit suicide by jumping into the river. Suddenly, he knew how to treat illnesses. No one would believe it. Chapter 110. I'm fine. Go up the mountain and bring the sheep down for me, the old man said as he got off the motorcycle. His body suddenly swayed and he had to hold onto the wall to steady himself. Don't go into the house. Hurry up. I'll take you to the hospital, the young man said anxiously. He remembered what Wang Yao had said on the hill. Just go back to the house. Why do I have to go to the hospital? The old man said. His son pulled him onto the motorbike and drove him to the hospital without any explanation. Stay here and eat grass quietly. Don't run around, Wang Yao said to the 3 goats beside him as he sat on the side of the mountain. He didn't wait for long. He saw a middle-aged woman rushing up the hill toward him. Hello, Auntie, Wang Yao said. Hey Yao, sorry to trouble you, the woman said. You're welcome. Where's my uncle? Your brother took him to the hospital, the woman said. Yes, it'll be better if he has a checkup, Wang Yao said. Yes, the woman said. After chatting for a while, the woman took the sheep down the hill. Wang Yao went up the hill and stood outside the herbal field. He was thinking as he looked into the distance. He didn't know why the sheep had broken through the illusion and entered the herbal field. Fortunately, San Xian was there. Otherwise, the herbs would have been in trouble. It was an accident, but it might happen again in the future. I have to think of a way. There were originally no roads on Nanshan Hill, especially in the area where Wang Yao was. However, some of the places that people often walked on had been trampled into small paths. People who occasionally went up the mountain to herd sheep or passed by would walk on these small paths. These paths were not far from Wang Yao's herbal field, but they were not close either. There were trees and the forest that had just been planted in the middle. Normally, no one would come here. Even during the first 2 years when Wang Yao was on Nanshan Hill, not many people came here during the busy farming season. Occasionally, villagers would come to ask for a bowl of water. If it doesn't work, I'll block these paths. After going up the hill, Wang Yao walked around Nanshan Hill a few times. He had a general idea. The illusion had to be set up. It couldn't be rushed, but he could consider a compromise first. Some things could be planted temporarily. After a period of time, if they were in the way, they could be removed. Wang Yao walked around the mountain a few times and determined a few positions. He made a mark on the stone. By the time he was done, the sky had already darkened. He went down the mountain and returned home. He noticed that his mother was looking at him strangely. What's wrong, Mom? Just now, Chunrong came by with something to thank you. What's going on? Chunrong. Wang Yao paused for a moment before remembering who it was. He was the son of the middle-aged man who was not feeling well on the mountain today. Thank me. That's right. He said that it was fortunate that we discovered it early. Otherwise, it would have been troublesome. Oh, this morning, his father was herding sheep on the mountain and happened to be near the herbal field. I thought there might be something wrong with his body, so I took his pulse and diagnosed that there was really something wrong with his body. Then I asked him to call home and send him to the hospital. Yes, he went to the county hospital. While the mother and son were talking, a person knocked on the door and entered the yard. It was the young man who rode the motorbike up the mountain today. After seeing Wang Yao, he immediately went up to him. I really have to thank you properly. It's all thanks to your reminder. Wang Yao expressed his gratitude. Is your uncle feeling better? He's hospitalized. Come in. Wang Yao invited the young man, who was not much older than him, into the house. The young man's name was Wang Chuanrong. He was the same generation as Wang Yao, but they didn't have much contact. At most, they would greet each other when they met. After sitting down, according to Wang Chuanrong's description, after coming down from the mountain, he originally didn't plan to send his father to the hospital. However, when his father got off the motorbike, he couldn't stand steadily and almost fell. This scared him. He didn't dare to hesitate and rode the motorbike directly to town. He originally wanted to go to the town hospital, but he met an acquaintance who drove him and his father directly to the county hospital. After a checkup, it was not a big deal. He was immediately hospitalized for thrombolytic treatment. According to the attending doctor, if he had come a few hours later, the possibility of the thrombosis being removed would be much smaller. Cerebral thrombosis was like this. A moment of carelessness delayed the treatment time. Even if it was just an hour, it could directly lead to hemiplegia. Now, his father's symptoms had already shown. His right arm and arm were basically out of control. He could only make some small movements. I didn't expect you to know medical skills, Wang Chuanrong said with a smile. After hearing that, Wang Yao just smiled and didn't say anything. He actively cooperated with the treatment in the hospital and exercised properly. Now that his arm and leg can still move, there shouldn't be much of a problem. Yes, the doctor also said so. I still have to go to the hospital. I'll thank you properly another day. No need. Wang Yao refused with a smile. He got up and walked Wang Chuanrong out. When he returned to the house, he saw his mother happily humming a song. Immediately, he smiled. The dinner that day was very sumptuous. Hey, there are guests today? Wang Fenghua, who came back from outside, was puzzled when he saw the sumptuous dishes on the table. No, I cooked for myself. Zhang Xiuying smiled and poured a glass of wine for him. It's a bit wasteful. Wang Fenghua picked up the wine and said in a muffled voice, It's not for you. It's for my son. Zhang Xiuying said happily, Yes, yes. Wang Yao just nodded and lowered his head to eat. He knew why his mother was so happy and didn't say anything. After dinner, he chatted with his parents for a while and then went back to Nanshan Hill. After Wang Yao left, Wang Fenghua lit a cigarette and asked, What did your son do to make you so happy? Nothing much. I saw that Chuanrong's father had thrombosis, so I reminded him. This afternoon, Chuanrong even came to express his gratitude. You received gifts from him again? I didn't want them, but he insisted on giving them up. When he comes back from the hospital, remember to go and see him, Wang Fenghua said after a moment of silence. Oh, okay. This was the way of relationships. There were exchanges and the friendship would continue. However, if there was no exchange, the friendship would gradually drift apart. The next morning, after finishing his practice, he went down the hill. He told his family that he was going to leave and drove outside. He first went to the nursery where he bought the saplings last time. He wanted to buy some plants and plant them on the hill. What? Plants with thorns? After hearing Wang Yao's request, the man was slightly surprised and then asked him a question. The saplings you bought from my nursery last time are all alive? The man had a deep impression of Wang Yao. After all, not everyone would choose to plant trees in the cold winter, let alone plant more than one kind. They are alive. They are growing very well, Wang Yao said with a smile. You want plants with thorns? Cactus? No, I want to plant them on the hill, Wang Yao said. Plant them on the hill? Do you want trees or shrubs? Shrubs first, preferably the kind that grows in clusters. Let me think. The man stood in place and lowered his head to think for a while. Roses, roses. They are very beautiful when they are in full bloom. Flowers. Wang Yao was surprised. The hill was full of flowers and could be seen from afar. It would only attract more attention. What he wanted was to prevent people from getting close to the herbal field and cottage. I don't want flowers. Change to something else that is not so eye-catching. I have a kind of purple leaf berberis. It is a commonly used garden plant. It has thorns, but the thorns are soft. What does it look like? Can you take me to see it? Wang Yao asked. Yes, no problem. Come with me. The man then took Wang Yao to see the plant. It grew in clusters. The leaves were purple and had soft thorns. It looked quite beautiful. Okay, this is it. Can I ask for some boxwood? Yes, how many do you want? I will send them to you. Wang Yao gave a rough estimate. Then, the man drove the trees to the foot of the mountain and brought them to the top of the mountain with the help of other people. When he saw the saplings that Wang Yao bought in the winter before the new year were swaying in the spring breeze and had grown green leaves, he was stunned. This doesn't make sense. He would not be surprised if the saplings grew like this in a greenhouse. After all, the environmental temperature was artificially controlled and some special drugs were added. However, this was an open-air environment. The cold temperature was the biggest factor that limited the growth of plants. The saplings actually grew in reverse. It was too shocking. How did you do it? Take care of it diligently. Pay more attention. Are you done? Yes. After being stunned for a long time, the man blurted out such a sentence. I admire you. I said before that if you grow these saplings, you can buy saplings from me for free in the future. This is the money for today. Here you go. As he spoke, the man took out the deposit that Wang Yao had paid from his pocket and wanted to return it to him. How can I do that? Seeing that the man kept his promise, Wang Yao was willing to take advantage of him. In the end, the man agreed to give him all the saplings at the lowest price. It was considered a break-even price. It's amazing that the saplings can grow like this in the winter. The man looked back from time to time as he walked down the mountain. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it. In this barren mountain, there was actually someone who could grow a large number of plants in winter. The key point was that they were all alive and growing at an astonishing rate. Boss, what did that young man grow on the hill? It should be herbs. I only know a few of them. Herbs? Are they very profitable? I see that the car he drives is not bad. I don't know. Why? Do you want to change your career? Of course not. I'm just asking. It's good to work for you. After they left, Wang Yao began to get busy on the hill. The saplings that were transported to the hill needed to be planted. He had also determined the place where he planted them. Take them? He did the digging, planting, watering. He watered the diluted ancient spring water. Chapter 111. In just half a day, there were a lot of low shrubs on Nanshan Hill. There were clusters of yellow poplar and purple leaf berberis. It looked messy, but there seemed to be some general shapes and patterns when looking at it from afar. What's missing? Wang Yao stood on the rock at the highest point of Nanshan Hill and looked down. After thinking for a while, he turned around and went down the hill. He went to the back of Nanshan Hill. In less than 20 minutes, he had 2 clumps of plants in his hand. They were full of thorns. There were indeed several wild jujube trees. This kind of plant had thorns all over its branches. Wang Yao planted them on the hill and watered them. He was so busy that he didn't finish until it was dark. Phew, I'm finally done. It should be better now. The place where Wang Yao planted the plants didn't seem to have much pattern at first glance. In fact, it was decided after careful consideration. First, it could prevent people and livestock from getting close to the herbal field and the cottage to the greatest extent. Second, it didn't have much impact on the spirit-gathering battle array in the future. It was also convenient to remove it. At night, the stars were high in the sky. Wang Yao stood in the herbal field and looked up at the sky. He seemed to be in a trance, but also seemed to be thinking about something. After looking at the sky for more than an hour, Wang Yao went into the cottage. From then on, he had one more thing to do at night. Looking at the sky. The next morning, dark clouds gathered in the sky. It looked like it was going to rain. Wang Yao locked the door and went down the hill. He drove away from the village and went to Lianshan County. When the car was still halfway, it started to rain. It wasn't heavy, but it was a bit soft. A spring rain was warm. The spring rain brought the recovery of all things. It moistened everything silently. Wang Yao didn't drive fast. Although there weren't many cars on the roads on both sides of the road were green. The old saying was true. He drove to Lianshan County and found the residential area rented by Zhou Xiong and his son. It was a good residential area in Lianshan County. There was a business district, a school, and a hospital nearby. The house price here was the highest in Lianshan County. The rent wasn't low, but it was much cheaper than staying in a hotel. After seeing Kong again, his complexion was much better than the last time they met. Moreover, there was a smile on his face. This meant that his nervousness had been effectively relieved. His mood was relaxed, which was very rare. "Hello, uncle." After seeing Wang Yao, he took the initiative to greet him. "Hello," Wang Yao said with a smile. "Dr. Wang, please come in." Zhou Xiong warmly invited Wang Yao into the house. He then made tea and poured water. Wang Yao also took the opportunity to look at the room he rented. The house was not very big, about 90 square meters. It had 2 bedrooms, 1 living room, and 1 bathroom. It was a typical house design. The decoration style was a bit conservative. It could even be called old-fashioned. However, it was very warm. Such a house was very suitable for the father and son. "How do you feel, Kong?" "Much better," Zhou Wukong took the initiative to answer. Listening to his voice, Wang Yao felt a lot more confident. This was the external manifestation of the body's recovery. His eyes were brighter. His breathing was not as rapid as before. It was also a little heavier. This was a good sign. Wang Yao then checked his pulse. From the pulse, his body was indeed getting better. Even his left arm was affected to a certain extent. This was a very good sign. "Do you occasionally feel a little hot in your left arm?" "Yes." Well, this was also a good thing. It should be the effect of the medicine in his body that had reached his left arm. Although the meridians in his left arm were almost withered, it was not all of them. Of course, ordinary medicine would not be able to have such an effect. Thinking about it, it was most likely that the spirit herbs had extraordinary medicinal effects that had such an unexpected effect. What about the abdominal pain? Still there, but it's a lot better. The duration is getting shorter, and the interval is also much longer. This is a dose of medicine. Take it at night before you go to sleep. It's warm. Take it within 3 days. Wang Yao took out the medicine that he had prepared in advance. "Thank you." Zhou Xiong stood up and took the medicine with both hands. With the magical effects of the previous 2 doses of medicine, he had already admired the young doctor in front of him. He even had some superstition. He believed that this medicine would definitely have the desired effect. In this way, his son would be able to sleep soundly. He could also have a good rest. What about the consultation fee? Zhou Xiong brought up this matter again. He couldn't help but mention that he was overjoyed to see that his son had an immediate effect under the treatment of this young doctor. He thought that if he continued to treat his son, perhaps the chronic disease in his arm could be cured as well. No matter what, he wanted this doctor to continue treating his son. However, the other party didn't mention a word about the treatment fee, which made him feel uncertain. He was afraid that the other party would suddenly stop treating his son halfway through the treatment. "Well, let's wait for a while more," Wang Yao said after a moment of silence. He had a rough price in mind, but looking at the child in front of him, he felt that the price was too high. Based on the child's current condition, in order to consolidate the treatment effect in the future, he would need to use regather soup and enchantment. In addition, the formulation of the pain-relieving medicine also needed licorice root. The consumption was a bit high. He did not get these things out of thin air. He needed to exchange them with reward points. He also needed to buy some wild herbs. In addition, he would definitely use the medicine, blood deblicking powder, to treat the arm in the future. "Can you give me a rough price? I know in my heart, no matter how high it is, I will find a way," Zhou Xiong said. "At least 1,000,000, Wang Yao said after a moment of contemplation. 1,000,000. Zhou Xiong was a little surprised when he heard the price. The price was indeed high, but it was not too outrageous. He knew that the cost of traditional Chinese medicine treatment was also not cheap. Sometimes it required decades or even century-old ginseng. That medicinal herb would cost more than hundreds of thousands. "No problem. Don't worry about the consultation fee. I will not pay a penny less," Zhou Xiong immediately promised. In the past 3 years, in order to treat his son's illness, he had traveled all over the country and asked for medical treatment everywhere. The cost was more than 1,000,000. "We can talk about the money later. Let's treat the child first." This was not because he did not care about money. He valued this treatment very much because this was the first time he had seen a patient systematically after he had learned the two abilities of medicine and medicine. Moreover, this was a kind of difficult and complicated disease. This was a rare opportunity for him to formulate a treatment plan and prescribe medicine according to the patient's condition. It was no longer the same as before, when he only saw patients based on prescriptions. It could be said that until now, he was just qualified to be a pharmacist. It was almost noon when he finished treating Zhou Wukong. Zhou Xiong wanted to invite Wang Yao to stay for lunch, but he was rejected by Wang Yao with a smile. When Wang Yao came down from the building, it was still raining outside. The spring rain was as fine as a cow's hair, sprinkling on the trees, cars, and walls. The pitter-patter, mixed with the wisps of spring wind, was quite hazy. When Wang Yao drove back to the mountain village, there was smoke rising in spirals. Looking from afar, he saw a mountain standing in the rain and fog. Although it was raining and there was the sound of roosters and dogs barking from time to time, it still felt very quiet. It was not like the city, where there was an endless stream of traffic and voices everywhere. Such a day was suitable for a cup of tea, reading a book, doing things quietly or not thinking about anything and just watching the rain. When he got home, his mother had already prepared dinner. It was steaming hot and fragrant. After dinner, Wang Yao went up Nanshan Hill. Few people went up the hill because of the rain. Nanshan Hill was quieter than the mountain village. Except for the sound of spring wind and spring rain, there was almost no other sound. A cup of tea and a scroll of ancient books. The soft chanting of sutras drifted out of the house. It did not take long before it blended into the spring breeze and the spring rain. The dog outside the house was fascinated by the chanting. The goshawk on the tree seemed to be listening as well. It stood on the tree branch and shook its head from time to time. It looked quite cute. The spring rain watered everything on the earth. Under the rain, the shrubs that Wang Yao had just planted seemed to be glossy. This task. After chanting a scroll of scriptures, Wang Yao checked the task that had just been arranged by the system. Within 100 days, he had to get the approval of 100 patients or their families. So far, the number of patients was less than 10, but it had been more than 10 days. I have to be more proactive, Wang Yao thought. The spring rain continued for half a day. It stopped at around 4 p.m. The mountain road was a little muddy and inconvenient to walk on. He went out to have a look and then called home. He didn't go down the mountain. Instead, he cooked something for himself in the cottage on the mountain and had a meal. After that, he spent the night on the mountain. The next day, the air on the hill was very fresh, perhaps because of the spring rain the day before. After Wang Yao was done with the herbal field and finished his cultivation, he went down the mountain. He had made an appointment with Wang Mingbao the night before to discuss something. After entering the county, Wang Yao drove directly to Wang Mingbao's store. There were several cars parked outside the store. There were also many people looking at decorative items in the store. Due to the boom in real estate these days, the business of Wang Mingbao's store had been doing well. In addition, Wang Mingbao's business was active, so the quality of the products he sold was good, and he didn't care much about the price. After a period of time, Wang Mingbao's store gradually became famous, and more people came to the store. Well, the business is good, Wang Yao said with a smile. It's not bad. It's much better than in town. Why do you suddenly have time to come here? Wang Mingbao asked curiously while making tea for him. Chapter 112. The friend you mentioned last time, I can take a look at him, Wang Yao replied. When? Wang Mingbao was surprised. Let's see when he's free. Okay, wait a minute. I'll call him right away. Wang Mingbao immediately picked up the phone and called his friend. After getting through the phone, he chatted with the person for a while and then hung up. What a coincidence. He's in Lianshan town center now. I've already told him that he'll be here in a while. If you're free, can you sit here for a while? Okay, I'll wait for him. Wang Yao and Wang Mingbao were drinking tea and waiting in the reception room. After about 20 minutes, a short but fat man walked quickly into Wang Mingbao's shop and came to the reception room. He had a round face with a smile, big ears, and a wide mouth. He apologized as soon as he saw him. Sorry, I was delayed by something. I'm late. In fact, he was not late. He was the friend Wang Mingbao mentioned. His surname was Wei and his first name was Hai. Wang Yao had been observing him since he entered the room. There was a slight smell of alcohol on him. Although it was very light and could not be detected by ordinary people without careful sniffing, Wang Yao's 5 senses were extraordinary. He could smell it when he was a few steps away. This meant that Wei Hai should have drunk a lot last night. The smell had not gone away until today. Let me introduce you. This is Wang Yao, Wei Hai Director Wei. Hey, what director? Don't make fun of me. We're friends. Hello, Dr. Wang. Wei Hai laughed and greeted Wang Yao. People like him were easy to accept because he was a master of social interaction. Hello. Wang Yao smiled and shook hands with him. When he got closer, Wang Yao noticed that his breath had a sour smell. It should be due to gastrointestinal discomfort. His eyes were slightly yellow, and his complexion was not very good. His liver should not be very good. After the 3 of them sat down, no one mentioned anything about seeing a doctor. They just drank tea and chatted. This Wei Hai was very talkative and could talk about any topic. After about 20 minutes, Wang Yao finally spoke. Chairman Wei, if it's convenient, I'll take your pulse and diagnose you. Okay. Wei Hai agreed without hesitation. Wang Yao put his finger on the 3-inch entrance. The room instantly quieted down. Both Wang Mingbao and Wei Hai's eyes fell on Wang Yao. After a while, Wang Yao removed his finger. Wei Hai in front of him looked happy, but there were many problems in his body. Many of his internal organs were damaged. Among them, His liver and stomach were the most serious. This should have a lot to do with his living habit. Excessive drinking damaged his internal organs. "Let me ask you a few questions," Wang Yao said. "Please go ahead. Do you usually like to eat fresh fish, especially raw food?" "Yes, I like to eat sashimi, drunk shrimp, and conch. They are delicious," Wei Hai said. "Especially in summer, after chilling them." "Ah, that's right." Wei Hai was surprised. At first, when he saw Wang Yao was so young, although he still looked enthusiastic, he was quite contemptuous in his heart. Especially when he saw Wang Yao take his pulse, his contempt became heavier. At such a young age, he actually learned to take the pulse of Chinese medicine. In his impression, if one was not 40 or 50 years old, one could not be a Chinese medicine practitioner. Old Chinese medicine practitioners meant old. However, he was surprised by Wang Yao's questions just now. The first question was that he liked to eat fresh fish, especially raw food, which could be learned from Wang Mingbao. However, not many people knew that he liked to eat fresh fish after chilling them in summer. He rarely showed this hobby in front of his friends. "Can I see the symptoms on your body?" "Yes." Wei Hai rolled up his sleeves and exposed his arms. There were bumps the size of fingernails on his arms. They were slightly swollen and the surface was keratinized. They vaguely looked like scales. Some of them even showed signs of ulceration. After a round of diagnosis, Wang Yao had basically figured out the cause of his illness. There was poison in the blood. The symptoms were visible on the skin. In fact, the internal organs were also poisoned. If not treated, the disease would go deeper and spread to the internal organs. At that time, it would be troublesome. For this disease, medical treatment was only temporary. If he wanted to cure it completely, he still had to start from personal habit. As the saying went, supplements with medicine are not as good as supplements with food. In fact, the cause of many diseases was bad habits. Even if they were cured temporarily, if they did not pay attention in the future, they would recur. Your disease is because there is poison in your body, which is visible on the skin, Wang Yao said. Yes. Wei Hai responded. He had gone to a big hospital for a comprehensive examination and analysis. There was indeed poison in his blood, but the source could not be found. If you want to cure this disease, you have to start from your habits. Go ahead. First, you should avoid eating raw seafood. Even if it's cooked, you should eat less. Second, you should avoid smoking and drinking. Wei Hai nodded his head as he listened. He thought Wang Yao would continue to talk, but Wang Yao stopped after saying those two things. That's it. You have to do these two things first. Wang Yao smiled. The two things that Wang Yao mentioned were not to be underestimated. It was difficult to do without great perseverance because it was to change a person's habits that had been imperceptibly influenced for more than a decade or even decade. Just abstaining from smoking and drinking would be difficult for a lot of people. If I'm not wrong, there should be other doctors who have made similar requests, right? Wang Yao asked. Yes, there is more than one. Wei Hai did not hide or evade. In the past, when he asked doctors for treatment, almost all of them mentioned abstaining from smoking and drinking. However, he did not do it at all. He was a businessman. Naturally, there were many things to do on occasions. There was no banquet without alcohol. When there was a cooperation, if he did not drink a few glasses with his business partner, what would the other party think? How could he talk about business? There was no distinction between smoking and drinking. If someone smoked and offered you a cigarette, would you take it? Well, can you prescribe a medicine for me to take? Wei Hai asked. Medicine can only treat for a while. If you don't change your habits, the disease will recur, and it will only get worse, Wang Yao explained calmly. It was said that the ancient divine Dr. Hua Tuo had met a patient who liked to eat fish. He had unbearable abdominal pain. After diagnosing him and prescribing him a medicine, he vomited a few liters of strange worms. He also told him not to eat it in the future. Otherwise it would recur. At that time, even the gods would not be able to save him. In the end, he agreed very well. However, when he went back, he still could not change his old habit. 2 years later, he died 2 years later. Ah! Wang Yao just laughed and shook his head. Dr. Wang, what are you doing? Wei Hai was puzzled. If you can change, I can prescribe this medicine. If you can't, it will be useless, Wang Yao said. I can change. Wei Hai heard and said, Okay, then I will prescribe you a medicine. I will inform you to pick it up when the time comes. Thank you. How about the consultation fee? We will talk about it when the time comes. Wang Yao smiled and waved his hand. Wei Hai chatted with them for a while longer before taking his leave. After Wei Hai left, Wang Mingbao returned to the room and softly said to Wang Yao, Did you have something to say just now? Yes, your friend's disease is not easy to treat. Why? Wang Mingbao was puzzled and asked. In ancient times, the divine Dr. Bien Ke said that there were 6 things that could not be treated. Arrogance, regardless of reason, cannot be cured. Light body and heavy wealth cannot be cured. Inadequate food and clothing cannot be cured. Unstable internal organs cannot be cured. Unable to take medicine cannot be cured. Unable to believe in witchcraft cannot be cured. Unable to believe in medicine cannot be cured. Unable to cure the 6th cannot be cured. Wang Yao took a sip of water and said, What do you mean? Wang Mingbao was stunned. The first sentence means that a person with an arrogant attitude, an unreasonable attitude, and does not follow the doctor's advice should not be treated. The second sentence means that a person who values money and does not care about his health should not be treated. Although your friend agreed verbally and agreed very well, when he went back, he would not follow the doctor's advice. He would eat and drink as he should. This is the first one could not be treated. He only values his business and does not pay attention to his health. This is the second one. He has done both. It would be a waste to treat him, Wang Yao said. What will happen if he continues to be like this? Wang Mingbao asked. Actually, a doctor might have already found the cause of his illness. It's because he likes to eat fish and he eats it raw. Poison enters his body through the raw fish. He was also given suggestions and treatment plans, but he didn't take them seriously. If he continues to be like this, the poison will enter deeper into his organs. At that time, it will be difficult to save him. It will be too late for him to regret it, Wang Yao said. His words were a little scary, but they were definitely not alarmist. The disease started at the end of the hair and was the easiest to cure and eradicate. When the poison entered the organs and bone marrow, unless there was really an elixir that could bring the dead back to life, even if Hua Tuo was reborn and Bien Ke was reborn, there was nothing they could do. Then I will persuade him again, Wang Mingbao said. He knew his friend's temperament. He would not bluff. Since he said so, it meant that his friend's disease was indeed serious and needed to be paid attention. Well, it would be best if you can persuade him. Saving a life is better than building a 7-floor pagoda, Wang Yao said. What about the medicine? If he does not change the medicine, it will be a waste of the medicine. It will be a waste of the herbs. After listening to Wei Hai's words and observing his expression, Wang Yao knew that Wei Hai didn't listen to him at all. He didn't intend to make the decoction at all. After sitting at Wang Mingbao's place for a while, Wang Yao left and drove back to the mountain village. On Nanshan Hill, he also thought about what he had experienced during the day. Some of his thoughts were written down in his note. As the night gradually fell, the lights in the cottage on Nanshan Hill were turned on. In this mountain there was only one lamp. It was very lonely. Wang Yao leaned on the table. In front of him was the Book of 5 Elements Matrix. On the table was a piece of paper. On it was the floor plan of Nanshan Hill that he had drawn. Some places were marked by him. Here, here, and here. Wang Yao said to himself as he made marks on the map. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.